Kickoff. We knew in advance that they would do that. The players felt that was important. They have done that, and the Brazilian referee Rafael Klaus blows his whistle. Iran get us underway, and this very first official international match between England and Iran is underway. England and Iran, their first match at this World Cup, this 2022 World Cup, and England in the white shirts with the blue trim, blue across the shoulders, blue shorts and white socks, and England playing from left to right as we look in this first half. This wide open, very airy stadium, I must say. It certainly doesn't feel oppressive inside the ground. Obviously the air condition system is working, but England with the ball on the pitch surface, which is entirely in shade, I must say as well. So none of the players down there in direct sunlight either. And England in possession. If you've just switched on to us on 5 Live, 4-3-3, the England system that Gareth Southgate's starting with, and that involves Kieran Trippier, the informed Newcastle man, on the right-hand side. But Jude Bellingham takes over, and then the ball is back to the halfway line again, and Harry Maguire, there'll be some focus on his involvement today. Maguire and Sterling as well, winning his 80th cap. Raheem Sterling joining the 80-plus cap club for England. He gets a touch on the left-hand side now, and then back it goes to John Stones in the centre circle. So Stones and Maguire, the two central defenders, Trippier on the right, Shaw on the left, Pickford in goal, winning his 46th cap, then Rice with Bellingham and Mount in midfield, and Saka and Sterling either side of Harry Kane through the middle. Harry Kane on 51 goals for England, so just 2 behind Wayne Rooney's record for the England men's team. And also, remember, Harry Kane has scored 10 goals in finals tournaments, and that is level with Gary Lineker's record. Here's Trippier now down the right-hand side, whips the ball across. Sterling was there, was headed away, comes out to Bellingham, who gives it back to Rice. Then the ball to the left-hand side to the informed now, Luke Shaw, slips it forward into the penalty area, but will bounce away through for what is given as the first corner of the match. Mason Mount just allowed it to roll because it had taken a touch off an Iranian defender, Rob Green. Yeah, really confident start from England, really good start. Everyone getting a feel of the ball. By the time you finished there, England had the ball the entire time. You introducing the introduction there, John, and then every single player got the foot on the ball, created some space for Trippier down the right-hand side, getting a good crossing. Sterling could have just attacked him, second-guessed himself, but strong start. Remember 4 years ago, England scored 9 set pieces out of their 12 goals. First set piece for England at this World Cup. Trippier swings it into the back post, and now players have gone down. Maguire has gone down. England feel that he was manhandled over. Maguire gets to his feet now. The referee has come across here and is very calmly looking at the situation. And the suggestion was that Chesney had his arms wrapped around Harry Maguire, and we're looking at the replay, which shows that he's been rugby tackled to the ground. Absolutely, yeah, you're right. And there's a new directive, less blocking, less manhandling in the penalty area. It's certainly 2 arms around him. It was a full-on rugby contact, and John Stones going down. Would he have got to the ball? No, it wasn't a bad ball in, but his run was impeded. Play has halted. We are waiting for a restart. Gareth Southgate's asking the question. And the referee, I think this could be a... No, he says play on. It's a goal kick. That's the end of it. And so much for that FIFA directive. There we go. So FIFA directive in the last in the weeks leading up to the tournament, there will be 0 tolerance of handling and holding opponents in penalty areas at set pieces. First set piece, Harry Maguire is absolutely wrestled to the ground. VAR have a look at it and decide there's no case to answer. Well, there's not a lot you can add to, really, is there? That it was a clear penalty, it's a clear foul. It's a wonderful example in the second game of what you need to be giving. It's not given. So there we are. England 0, Iran 0. 5 Live and BBC Sounds on the second day of this World Cup. And Rice with Trippier at the back, the ball played across. England's 7th consecutive World Cup, their 16th in all. And England with the ball inside their own half, playing it across. Let's not forget, though, that it is Iran's 3rd consecutive World Cup as well, all under the tutelage of coach Carlos Queiroz, now 69 years old, the former Manchester United assistant manager to Sir Alex Ferguson. He was asked yesterday whether he'd been in touch with Sir Alex about some tips on how to beat the English, but he said no, nothing could be further from my mind, or words to that effect. So here's Maguire at the back, giving it to the right to Stones, even though he said he spoke to Alex Ferguson on a regular basis. Bellingham back into centre field, and Harry Maguire now. England, who could easily have won an early penalty, but this Brazilian referee, certainly if he saw it, he ignored it, and if VAR looked at it, they decided that there wasn't enough there. Here's Rice playing the ball across to his left. Bellingham now through the middle. Mason Mount is there. Shaw arrives on the left-hand side. Good cross from Shaw towards the back post. Saka was after that, half-headed away. Comes out to England again. Trippier goes back into the centre circle. And again, the full-backs pull wide here. Shaw on the left-hand side, Trippier on the right. And it is the Newcastle man who ends up with the ball at his feet. Plays it forward. It was half-blocked away. Saka is now onto this. Bukayo Saka. The ball is right on the white line, near the corner flag. It is kept in play down there by Husseini, and eventually the ball is put out of play for an England throw down the right.
That was really good play, really clever play from Saka. That he was pressing hard, but just didn't press hard enough to give away a foul. Kept the ball in as well. It's good pressure for England. They're going to see a lot of the ball. Chesney, as we thought, from midfield is dropping into that back line. He's another centre back now, so they're effectively a flat back five, and it's allowing the full backs of England just to push on and create more options high up.
England with it on the halfway line. England 0, Iran 0, and Saka skips away from a couple of challenges, still going, but then the next challenge is a foul. It's a free kick. He was tripped, and it's a free kick 10 yards inside the Iranian half.
Yeah, it's going to be tight in there for Saka. He's got to pick and choose his moments. It was good skill. It was the right choice because they were committed into the tackle, but it's just going to be so congested, so tight that midfield four in front of them is going to be very, very narrow for the whole game. And you just wonder where England are going to find the space. Harry Kane, he's going to occupy the three centre-halves.
Free kick taken quickly down the right-hand side. Kane swings it into the back post, and a stretch goalwards by Rice, who was arriving, could only steer it wide into the far outside side netting, and two Iranian players have collided. The goalkeeper Baron Vand, and also the number 19 Majid Husseini, as the ball was swung across by Harry Kane dangerously. The two of them in an attempt to defend it. The goalkeeper got a touch, and the two of them have gone chest to chest, I think, not head to head. Or do you think it was they did catch? Oh yeah, they did. We see on the replay, and that will take a little bit of time to sort that out, because there has to be a head injury protocol taking place here. That's without question.
Yeah, that was nasty, and it was one where neither player knew that the either was there, and it's a full-on collision. No stopping, there was no braking, there was no bracing for either of them. Really good ball from Harry Kane. And Matt, you're just down there just wondering if you're at the wrong end, aren't you, with England pressing all this way?
Down here, I've just seen a big stat come up on the screen of possession. It's 81% England at the moment, and you know, it speaks volumes about where they are. But I've just noticed on this right hand side, we were talking about Bellingham before the game and what his role was going to be. Was he going to sit? Was he going to push on? He's really drifting over to this right-hand side. Saka's coming inside as well, and that run from Trippier on the overlap, I mean, he's going wide and high all the time. So that little interchange between those three little triangles, I think is definitely that area that Bellingham is going to drift into, the right-hand side of the pitch.
So that is Matt Upson, who's watching from behind the goal to our left. So Jordan Pickford's goal in the first half. Matt was telling me before the match, he can't remember ever watching a match at this level from behind the goal. So new experience for Matt Upson.
I have at times. I shouldn't have been, but I'm in the goal, deep into behind the back line. But just looking at the Iran goalkeeper, Barambar, he's in a real pickle at the minute, real problems. I think he's broken his nose in there, certainly. Yeah. Blood streaming out of it.
Yeah,
well, in a bad way.
Yeah, it was as opposed to a sort of forehead, top of the head collision. It wasn't. It was like face to face, lower face to lower face, and it would appear. Now they are warming up, as we said before the game. You know, Carlos Queiroz has picked 4 goalkeepers in his squad of only 25, and here we are in the first 10 minutes of the first match. And one of their most important players, Alireza Berenvand, has gone down. And I mean, your experience, Rob, I'm sure you've broken your nose as a goalkeeper. You know, can you feasibly continue if he has?
You shouldn't, full stop. I think from there, the way that your brain works and the way that your perception, we talked about perceptions on the pitch, and you are so frazzled mentally now that asking to be a player at the top level, at the world stage, at this is doing your team a disservice, your country a disservice. It shouldn't happen. Just come off and move on, because it's a really, really nasty blow.
Yeah, lengthy stoppage. England 0, Iran 0. If you've just switched on to us on 5 Live. The match is on BBC One as well, by the way, if you're on your way home. Guy Mowbray and Jermaine Genus are not too far away from where we're sitting here. And in actual fact, with any of the matches that are live on BBC television from this World Cup, you can go to the red button and the 5 Live radio commentary is synced up with the TV pictures. World Cup Extra, I believe it's called, which, strangely enough, I hadn't picked up that message. Well, we've had lots of messages, but that was one that had slipped through the net. So look out for World Cup Extra to do that. Still a stoppage continues, and this does not look good, I must say, for Berenvand, the goalkeeper, who is still down on his side and is still being treated. A couple of his teammates are there as well, but the medical people are doing their thing, and you would have to think that they are going to make a change. And, and the goalkeepers, it looks like it's Hussein Husseini who is the most likely replacement of the possible 3.
He's warming up on this touchline down below us, and just looking at him there, fairly relaxed, hasn't got his gloves on. I'd be desperately keen to get my gloves on and get a feel of the ball, because what you don't want to be going is going on cold, not having touched the ball for half an hour. Get a touch of the ball, get a feel, get yourself in the game, because all of a sudden it's a massive, massive moment.
Rob, why hasn't he got his gloves on yet?
I have no idea. The goalkeeper coach has got his gloves on. He's just decided not to, but I don't know whether he feels that he is, whether he's waiting to get the nod to say he is coming on, but he's coming back now to get his gloves on. It's just taking such a while to...
Yeah, he's lying on his back now, and they are now, I think, indicating that they're going to have to make a change. So clearly Berenvand felt that he might be able to continue, but they've made the call there, 12 minutes on the clock, that they're going to have to make the change. While they are attending to that, and a stretcher is being prepared, although Berenvand is just now sitting up, so he's leaning forward and they're having another look at him, but I think surely they have to make this change. And yeah, I see Hussein Husseini is now getting ready properly. Now, if you were listening before the match, we mentioned that there was a problem with the ticketing app for some of the England fans, and that they were being sent to a ticket resolution centre, and that there were long queues. We heard from our own colleague John Southall, who was outside the ground, that there were long queues and there was concern about whether people were going to get in. We're now hearing from some of our other BBC colleagues that there was a frantic build-up for some England supporters who couldn't enter the stadium because that ticket app crashed. But all who were there at that queue are now in the ground, and it would appear, according to our BBC colleagues, that those in charge told them to just go in, and it looked like that nothing was being checked for fans to enter the stadium. So looking down to my left, it does look as though the England section to our left, behind where Matt Upson is down there, is pretty much full. So back on the pitch, England 0, Iran 0. We've had a long stoppage because the Iranian goalkeeper Alireza Berenvand collided with Majid Husseini, the central defender. There's a clash of faces. It looks as though Berenvand has broken his nose. One of the substitute goalkeepers, Hussein Husseini, is ready to come on, but Berenvand has not yet left the field, and we're just seeing pictures here on our television screen in the commentary position. I mean, his nose has swelled up to almost twice the size.
He's just changed his shorts remarkably. He must have been something for blood, but it's I can't believe he's going to carry on. He's put his gloves back on, but it's after all the noises and talk of protocols regarding concussion and things like that, it's incredible that he's even considering carrying on.
Well, the highly experienced Iranian captain Ehsan Haisafi is there with him as well, talking to him. They're chatting away. He's just giving him a pat on the bottom and then run away into his position. They are putting Behren Van's gloves back on, and it seems that they are satisfied that he is going to be able to continue.
Well, it's just remarkable. England just shoot, because he will be seeing about 4 or 5 balls right now, and whether you pick the right one or not I can't see this being safe.
I have to say, to me, he looks dazed.
Yeah,
he looks dazed.
This is a decision that should be taken out of his hands.
Well, with quite possibly a broken nose, the Iranian goalkeeper, Alireza Behren Van, is going to continue, and play is going to resume with a goal kick. It is still England 0, Iran 0. This is BBC Radio 5 Live at the Qatar World Cup. And Behren Van takes the goal kick, and it lands just over the halfway line, where Rice was underneath it. And Kane now to the left-hand side. And England surge forward with Mason Mount. Mount turns away from the challenge, and then knocks it back to Rice. And just now, well, Rob, I'm sure it's natural for you to look to Behren Van and just, I mean, I'm looking at him now, he's leaning forward with his hands on his knees and he's rubbing the side of his head.
Well, he's staring at the ground, he's got his hands to his face. How he can focus on the game, let alone save a shot, let alone, I don't know.
There's blood coming out of his nose.
He's now taking a knee.
He's gone down on one knee, he's indicating, he's signalling that England should not take this throw. The referee now has spotted it and is going to run back over towards the goalkeeper, who's now flopped down onto his back, and surely that has to be the end of his involvement in this match.
Well, it's just a ludicrous situation that they even considered to ask him the question as to whether he can carry on or not.
So his concerned teammates have run across there, and now there is the clear signal from the medical people who are still behind the goal there, and you know, there are going to be questions about that, about the decision for him to even carry on for, what, a minute or so, if that, a matter of seconds before he realised that he was not going to be able to play any further part in this match.
Yeah, it's a massive step backwards with that, in that situation, in terms of the progression that we're trying to make as a sport, in terms of the safety of players. To listen to a player who's just clearly had his nose broken and say, oh, do you think you want to carry on? Oh, Mike, well, no, sorry, no.
So the stretcher is coming on. I mean, this is all happening at the opposite end of the ground from where Matt Upson is, but you will have a view of sorts on it, Matt, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do have exactly the same opinion as you. I mean, I can't really see too much. Luckily, Jordan Pickford can keep you quite entertained down here anyway when there's nothing going on, but it just seems like a ludicrous protocol that's been followed, because how can he continue? The decision should have been made, and also it's taking so much time in the game that it's just slowing everything down. It should have just been an early decision. He clearly can't carry on. The knock's too bad, and unfortunately I can see into the bench, and the goalkeeper coming on now has his gloves on.
And Matt, what's it done to the atmosphere down there? You were questioning it before the game, sort of saying it's a bit of a questionable atmosphere. It's filled up now, but what's it down on the touchline? It must be fairly subdued.
Yeah, well, you'd expect it, wouldn't you? Because there's nothing happening. You know, the game's been paused for so long, even though they've just restarted, it didn't really get going. It was so clear that the goalkeeper couldn't carry on. So everyone's just quiet, standing up, nobody's really sitting down, everyone's up on their feet, trying to observe and see what's going on, because we're quite away from that goal. We can obviously see the bodies around the stretcher, but, you know, the fans especially are a long way from that far goal.
And the England players now, have they been warming up, or because it's almost like a chance of having to start again?
Yeah, no, they're doing a little bit of footwork, having a chat. Maguire and Stones just talking to each other, a few little chats, but I think they're ready to go, and it's been a bright start, hasn't it? I think they've looked quite confident on the ball and looking like they can probe and ask that question.
But a lengthy stoppage. That must have been going on 10 minutes. 19 minutes on the clock now. And the applause, because Alireza Behren Van is now being stretchered away. And it's Hussein Husseini who comes on to win his 8th cap for Iran. Who missed out on the World Cup 4 years ago, was in the preliminary squad but not selected by Carlos Queiroz, but last season was in very good form for the Iranian champions Esteghlal. So he's suddenly thrust into the World Cup action here, after England have made a strong start to the match in such play as there has been so far in this game. And we will have, just to warn you, as I say, a good 10 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. England coming forward then, from left to right. Sterling's ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, but that's blocked away, and Iran take it away with the former Brighton man, Alireza Jahanbakhsh, over on that far side, but his pass in field is straight to the feet of Declan Rice, who's able to tidy it up, even though he slipped over. And finally the ball is played back to Jordan Pickford. I'm not sure how many touches Pickford has had in the game so far. Long clearance from him, which comes back towards the edge of the England penalty area, and then Stones put in a challenge on Taremi. No free kick given for that. Thought he might have got man rather than ball, but the referee saw it as a clean tackle. So now England with it, with on the left hand side, the left back, and then Bellingham puts in the challenge inside of play for a throw to Iran, who are playing from right to left, the highest ranked Asian team in the world rankings. Remember, they are number 20 in the world. As the throw-in is taken, and there is a foul by Bellingham, and it's a free kick to Iran here on the left hand side, so they have the first chance to have a set piece of their own. It was the captain, Ehsan Haisafi, who was fouled by Bellingham near the touchline on the left. So England have to defend a set piece now.
Yeah, just too keen, a bit naive that from Bellingham, going in a bit too hard. Iran plainly want to win free kicks. It's a huge chance for them. It's one of the better opportunities they're going to get. Previously, Jahanbakhsh getting forwards, didn't have anyone to pass to, facing 5 England players. This now a real threat.
England 0, Iran 0. But Jahanbakhsh has come across here, the number 7, now playing for Feyenoord after moving on from Brighton. And either it'll be an in-swinger from him. No, in fact, he runs away from it. It is going to be Jahanbakhsh who plays it in. He checked his run, came back. England weren't fooled. It was a poor delivery, actually, and it was cleared away. But now Iran cross from the right-hand side to the back post. It's over everyone inside the box, bounces out into the opposite link-back area. And Jahanbakhsh is dispossessed, and then in comes the challenge to put it out of play. Clean tackle on Saka, and it's a throw into England halfway inside their own territory.
Well, when we're saying it's an opportunity for Iran, one of the better opportunities they'll get in the game. It's 2 really poor balls in, 1 too short, 1 too long. England will be relieved to get back on the ball again and play out like they are.
I think perhaps in the old days you would have said, well, will that long stoppage have disrupted England? But to be honest, it's such a feature of matches now, whether it's international or in the Premier League or wherever you go, that we do. You know, it's common now, isn't it, to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-minute breaks, so the players are more attuned to it. Here's Stones on the halfway line. John Stones passing it back to his left to Harry Maguire. Just 5 starts for Manchester United this season in all competitions, Maguire. But Gareth Southgate keeps faith with him. Ball forward from Maguire is cleared away back downfield for England. And then a foul on the near the halfway line on Mason Mount, who was looking for it but does get it, and a free kick near the halfway line on the far side.
Yeah, he's picking up some nice positions, Mason Mount. He's drifting out to the left hand side, but if you're looking at the midfield, he's just taking a sort of position outside the Iran midfield and buys him a bit of space, basically in behind Jahanbakhsh, who's one of the more attack-minded players.
Important touch there to give it to Shaw on the left hand side. Sterling gives it back to Shaw. Now Shaw's low cross, there are 2 defenders there. It's blocked by one or possibly both of them. Took the pace off it, and Iran were able to clear it out on the far side. Yeah. The Iranian approach is abundantly clear here. For all Carlos Queiroz, when he was talking to us yesterday, I was in the room when he was holding his pre-match press conference. He was talking about the spirit of adventure, etc., etc. But it's a very, very cautious approach from Iran.
It's all about perspective with adventure, isn't it? Over the halfway line, maybe, but it's something that England are going to have to really combat. Here is a deep line area. Watching in the clips before the game, the research saying Jahanbakhsh is the one that loses his discipline. He will go, he will chase the ball. That's what I think Mason Mount and Sterling and Shaw are going to play on that left-hand side.
So England 0, Iran 0. Not to say that defenders and goalkeepers can't be adventurous people, of course, Rob.
Well, we'll have our own ways, and yeah, but
this free kick is hit long downfield by Iran towards the edge of the England penalty area, headed away by Maguire, and then Rice and Shaw, and that's a yellow card because the challenge came in from Jahanbakhsh on Luke Shaw and caught him. And Shaw is on his feet and he's okay. And I sounded concerned there, and the top of his foot was stood on by Jahanbakhsh, who is shown a yellow card, first yellow card of the match. Jahanbakhsh is booked, and the concern there, because I don't know about you, of the players that England could ill afford to lose to injury, I would put Luke Shaw pretty close to the top of the list.
Well, you're looking at options other than Luke Shaw, and it's slim pickings, isn't it?
And now a foul by Hosseini on Mason Mount. Another foul on Mason Mount, and England with a free kick 10 yards inside the Iranian half. An announcement inside the ground, a very loud announcement in several languages to tell us that Jahanbakhsh was booked. Ball played forward towards the edge of the area. Kane was looking for that. Saka does well actually into the challenge to win it back, and then England, there's a double deflection which takes it out on the left hand side here. Mohammadi though for Iran, and then Taremi drags the ball back, was challenged by Trippier, threw himself to the ground, wanted a free kick, and the referee says no way, England throw.
Well, in unison, Trippier and the referee suggested to him, get up. And he did.
That is Mehdi Taremi of Porto, clearly one of the danger men. 13 goals for Porto in 18 appearances this season, and 5 in the Champions League. And remember, they won their group. Here's Saka. Saka back to Bellingham. Bellingham out to the right-hand side to Trippier. And then in field again, Saka trying to find a way through between 2 Iranian defenders. One of them went down rather easily, but the referee says that was a free kick to Iran, halfway inside their own box. So we've played almost half an hour, although in fairness, we lost 10 minutes of that time to a really nasty injury, facial injury, to the Iranian goalkeeper, Alireza Behrenvand, who was clattered in the face by his own central defender, Majid Hosseini. Seemed to come off okay, actually. He's been able to continue. We've not really talked about him. I mean, it wasn't great for him either, Hosseini. But Behrenvand stretched it off. Hosseini has come on. And the other incident of note, the fact that, and to all intents and purposes, England, it seems, should have had a penalty. Ball given away by Iran. Now Kane takes it up, but a recovering challenge, bounces for Mount. Mount, low pass along the edge of the penalty area to Saka. Saka back onto his left foot, curls it goalwards, but an easy take for goalkeeper Hosseini. His first involvement, just dropped forward and was able to scoop the ball up on the half volley off the turf.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saka. A touch of the ball for Hosseini, and he'd be relieved for that. It was the right idea from Saka, trying to feed it into the far post. It's kind of outnumbered, going down a dead end really, came back out again. Just wasn't the right execution.
The other thing as well that Iran have lost with the injury to Behrenvand is his long throwing, his prodigious long throws, which are a big part of their game. As England now playing the ball out from the back, and Declan Rice goes for a long crossfield pass to Trippier, who under pressure heads the ball forward to Saka, who was fouled by Hosseini. So it's a free kick, another foul. The match has been littered with fouls, one way or the other, mainly against England players.
Yeah, and it's the quick switch. It's the quick switch that England need there. Declan Rice was the one to do it deep in their own half, but even in the Iran half, they've just got to switch the ball quick, cross the ball quick. Don't allow them to get set.
I presume that Behrenvand will have been stretchered out of the ground and maybe taken to the medical centre for treatment. I mean, the disappointment, you have to really feel for him, don't you, for that to happen in the first 10 minutes of your World Cup experience.
Really tough for him. He'd have been preparing for weeks and building up to it as a target, as a goal in your career, and then something literally unforeseen. Yeah. Didn't have a clue he was there.
Amazing story as well. His backstory from a nomadic family in rural Iran. He was, a shepherding family, and now to raise to the heights that he has in the world game. And sheep farmer sons are tough people. He wanted to carry on. Here's Saka now down the right-hand side for England into the full-back position, cuts it back onto his right foot. Trippier back to Saka again, and then Trippier again goes infield to Saka, to Sterling, who tries to angle it back. Saka's ball into the near post, and then Mount with the shot, arriving on it, corner of the 6-yard box. There was a defender there, and on the whip, he couldn't get the whip that he actually wanted, and struck the shot into the outside of the netting.
Yeah, too tight an angle really for the shot, but it's good play from England. Good shot, one-touch football, well-timed run from Saka. Almost bunted the ball into the penalty area, into that near post space. And Mount, you're thinking, didn't really probably have another option but to try the shot on. But again, just that fast bit of interchange around the box, that's what makes the difference.
England 0, Iran 0. That's Rob Green. Matt Upson is down there, pitch side behind the goal, but not seeing a great deal of the action because he's at Jordan Pickford's end in this first half. We have 3 commentaries today on 5 Live, all live from here in Qatar, from 4 o'clock GMT. It'll be Senegal, Netherlands, with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton. They will be, I'm sure, in position in the stadium now. And then tonight it is the Wales return to the World Cup. So join us for that. Kelly Cates will be in the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium as England defending at the back, being put under pressure, but Bellingham did well against 2 opponents and passed the ball back, and now it's brought forward by Mount. Still carrying it forward, up towards the corner of the penalty area. He's still going, defenders backing off, and then he checks back, and then Mount plays the ball across to the right-hand side. Trippier works it across, Kane with a header across the penalty area, and that is headed away, but not completely clear by Iran. Jude Bellingham is onto it for England, still just 19 years old. Oh, lovely footwork from Sterling into the edge of the penalty area, and then the challenge came in from Majid Hosseini to put it behind for an England corner.
That's a lovely, wonderful bit of skill from Raheem Sterling. A little touch, a little nutmeg. Thought he had the opportunity, just got taken away from him. But again, it's good from England. Iran go to press, actually having the strength and the conviction, the passing and the skill to get out of that press, and then you're away. So the game's almost in 2 sections around the England penalty area, then around the Iran one. That whole centre of the pitch was just bypassed.
Trippier to take this corner from the right-hand side. Had to trot and get the ball himself. The hoardings are quite a long way behind the goals here, and the ball was up against it, so he's done that. Puts the ball in the quadrant. Trippier waiting to take this, and we now know that they can wrestle each other as much as they like. You know, we're not going to see a penalty, so the Iranian defenders will think they've perhaps got more licence because of that earlier incident. Trippier to take the corner, and it's headed against the outside of the post. Maguire arriving on the stretch. He managed to get that forehead to it, but couldn't direct it on target, and it hit the outside of the post. And the Iranian goal survives, and Iran bring it away down the other end with Mohammadi. Mohammadi, though, loses out. England were back quickly in numbers. Bukayo Saka does well, stabs it forward, but Bellingham can't reach that, and it's out of play for a throw. But Maguire could easily have had a penalty earlier in the game, and he could easily have scored the opening goal there. It struck the top of the bar, actually, next to the top of the post.
Yeah, it did so well to meet the ball. Every sinew, every bit of strength onto it. All he can do is try and guide it. Jordan Pickford celebrating at one end, ball's hitting the bar at the other. Actually, John Stones was the one that was free, but he just drifted over the top of him. Harry Maguire did really well just to meet it. That is a let-off.
And England are really causing problems for Iran from corners, from crosses.
Well, it was interesting there that John Stones just got free run. Clearly the referee has had a word in his ear maybe, and it's certainly in the defender's ear to say, look, you do that again, I'm going to have to give one.
Yeah, but strictly speaking,
you shouldn't have to do 2.
You'd be giving teams second chances at a World Cup.
I wouldn't mind with one.
More on that later in the tournament, in a few days' time maybe. England 0, Iran 0. USA to come, and you will hear that USA-Wales match from 7 o'clock tonight. Ian Dennis and Dion Dublin. James Collins as well is involved in the coverage from back in the UK, as Iran have the ball in their left-back position, and Rusbeh Cheshmi gives it away to Bellingham. Bellingham, tall, stately, graceful, back to Trippier, and now back to Stones and Maguire in the centre circle. Harry Maguire very nearly came within just a few inches really, or centimetres if you prefer, from scoring England's first goal at this World Cup. Maguire plays the ball across. Maguire, who scored in both of the quarter-finals in the 2 previous Gareth Southgate tournaments, remember. Maguire playing it to the edge of the area. Mount with a touch. Sterling is there. Now Shaw with the cross. Bellingham heads it in! England score! And it's Jude Bellingham who scores England's first goal at this World Cup, and his first goal for England at 19 years old. What a moment for this rising star. England lead Iran by 1-0 with 10 minutes to go to half-time.
On one end of the stadium erupts with the England fans, and there's pockets everywhere just celebrating that goal. It's a brilliant goal from England. Jude Bellingham takes the applause, takes the congratulations from his teammates, and it was the timing of his run. Talked about it before the game, waiting outside the box, waiting for the interchange of passing down the left-hand side, completely unmarked. He drifted the header, wonderfully guided over Hosseini into the far top corner. It paused, time paused for a moment, waiting for that to go in. His heart would have been in his mouth for a moment, but he would have known, It's a brilliant header, it's a fantastic goal.
He's bided his time, Jude Bellingham. This is his 18th cap for England. And he's come close, he's had the ball in the net, I remember, on at least one occasion. But this one counts, and England lead Iran by 1-0. And let's get a view on it from Matt Upson from pitch side.
Well, all of a sudden, John, there's a crowd in the stadium, isn't there? The noise from my left-hand side behind me was incredible. All England fans up off their seat. It was a really good goal, actually. I loved the pass of Harry Maguire. We have to give that a little mention. I was perfect position behind the goal.
Kane now plays it forward, but it just runs away. Poor from Iran losing it in that position, but Mount couldn't reach the pass from Kane, so it's back down to Matt.
Yeah, I was in a great position, John, to see the first pass from Harry Maguire, because Greeny referenced that play around the left was really nice, but he broke the lines with a really positive pass, and I think it might have been Mount, straight through the midfield into the front, and the movement came off that. So really good pass from Maguire, who's actually started really well.
It was interesting, it was that position from Mount that he's been picking up, and that interchange between him, Shaw and Sterling. I don't think Iran have really got an answer here. They're not sure what to do, who to go out, when to go out.
So England lead Iran by 1-0, and their first goal at this World Cup coming in the 35th minute. There certainly wasn't anything that Hosseini, the substitute goalkeeper, could do about it. The arc of it was way over him, and it dropped into the top corner. As you said, Rob, it seemed like time stood still before it actually found the back of the net and dropped in underneath the crossbar. So the header across goal from, what was he, 7-8 yards out, just got a nice twist to the head, then a glance over the goalkeeper. So Jude Bellingham, the Borussia Dortmund man, is on cloud 9. And here he is, inside his own half. Great reaction from him as well to celebrate, stood with his arms raised high. I think he has been wondering, we heard from him, didn't we, before the game, talking about whether that first goal might come. Well, it has, as Kane, inside his own half, heads the ball on, but it struck an outstretched arm. Well, that's been disputed by Cheshmi, who runs past the referee, pointing his finger, but it is a free kick to England.
It was a brilliant moment, and he knew the cameras was on it. He posed for the photo. Thank you very much, thank you world, here I am, announcing himself on the world scene. What a moment.
So England with the free kick halfway inside their own half. Great, isn't it, to do that as a 19-year-old. I mean, that, as we've said, since he burst onto the stage, really, he belies his tender years. And remember, he played at the Euros as a 17-year-old, the first Englishman to do that at either the Euros or the World Cup. But now on his World Cup debut, here Bellingham again, playing the ball in towards the edge of the area. Sterling playing in his third World Cup, tries to give it back to Bellingham. Defender there with him. It's kept in play, but deflected out for a throw into Iran just next to their corner flag.
Just watching the body shape, the body language of Iran now, whether they can hold it together, whether they can keep the shape, because yes, there's only 7 minutes to half time, but we'll have another good part of 10 minutes on top of that. It's a big 15 minutes for them in field. Yes, they scored goals in qualification. 24 of them were against Cambodia in 2 games, so stats are a little bit warped there. It'll be interesting to see how they stay in this game, if they can.
No disrespect to Cambodia.
Yes, all of them. I couldn't name many of their players.
No, but that's the footballing. That's the footballing phrase to use in those circumstances. Here's Pickford, who clears to the halfway line. Trippier pulls it down with his right foot nicely, plays the ball over the top, but beyond the run of Kane, and it bounces through to goalkeeper Hosseini. And yes, you know, my mind actually goes back to 2018, England's first match there against another team in red, and England dominated the early stages, did get the early goal through Harry Kane, but then conceded a penalty before half-time, and it is Iran coming forward, and an interception from Declan Rice inside his own penalty area, and Maguire prevents it from going out for a corner, and England have the ball at the back. And here's Luke Shaw, the man who set up the opening goal, incidentally, with a very nice cross from the left-hand side. Luke Shaw playing it away, and now Mason Mount turns away from the challenge that comes in on him, and Mount turns, twists, and sends a high ball out to the right-hand side, where Trippier gets it down and passes it down into the full-back position. Saka on the chase, second favourite to win that, and fouls Hosseini as he does so, and it's a free kick to Iran in their own defensive third.
Now what I like with England at the minute, what they're doing well is that they can go short and they can go long. So when Iran do decide to press, and they are pressing at times, when they choose to go, England can say, right, okay, well, we'll either play through you, or that big switch is on, or the long ball into Kane is on. So Iran really stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do we drop? Do we go? Don't really know what to do.
So in theory, we're in the last 5 minutes of the first half, but we think that we've probably still got 15 minutes of time to actually play, or thereabouts. Saka playing the ball back into the middle of his own half. The floodlights now beginning to take effect, and we can see the players' shadows. Night falls very quickly in Doha, so it'll be dark before you know it. I suspect there'll be another lovely sunset tonight, glorious sunset last night. And here is Maguire with the ball in front of his own penalty area. So England leading through the Bellingham goal. Maguire should have had a penalty. He also had a header that hit the bar, and Maguire now passing the ball forward to his Manchester United teammate Shaw, and Shaw thought about the long pass but then actually plays it short instead, and Harry Kane is back there, and Kane just looks to his left, and Mount is arriving, so Shaw receives it from him, and then it comes back centrally again, and England recycle it back to the halfway line, and now to the right hand side. England have dominated possession but got the all-important goal. And here is Stones. Stones just steps forward and takes it between two Iranian players, and then rolls a pass out to Shaw on the left hand side, and Shaw uses Raheem Sterling, and England almost going through the card in terms of the number of players who've had a touch in this period of possession. It's gone from left to right to the edge of the box, then back now to the centre circle, and then a long pass hit by John Stones. Shaw making good ground, chests it down, but Moharimi was there for Iran, but he's cleared it straight away, and England now mount inside the penalty area. Sterling's after this, but Moharimi is able to come across and slide it behind for another England corner. So concerns for Iran here after the previous corners England have had.
Yeah, and you get the feeling England are enjoying themselves, playing good football. They've got options, they've got the long pass if they need it, the switch is on, and you've got players that want the ball and playing. It's a joy to play in, and at the minute it just looks like they're really getting ahead up at steam and enjoying it.
Shaw's going to take this corner from the far side, so we need to keep our eyes on Stones and Maguire again, who are near the edge of the area. The two of them head in different directions. Maguire is the target, he got his head to it, and then it's driven in by Saka! England score their second goal and are now in charge of this opening group match at this World Cup. The Iranian players are protesting. Maguire headed across the box to Saka, but it's sat up for him, and with his left foot he drove it high into the Iranian net, and now it's Bukayo Saka. And remember how things ended for him at the Euros in the final last year, the absolute heartbreak and everything that followed. And now in the very next tournament, Saka scores for England in the opening match of the tournament in their group. Iran are continuing to protest about this. They're all around the referee. England have completed their celebrations, but as far as we know, it is England 2, Iran 0.
It's picture perfect from Saka. It's a brilliant strike, top corner, just clipping the underside of the crossbar, sits up perfectly for him. Really intelligent header down from Harry Maguire. He's got the beatings of his marker Cheshmi in the penalty area. He's arguing that he was held down. It won't get overturned. The referee is saying get on with it. It's a big goal, gives them that breathing space. It's a really good goal, a really good strike.
Well, play still has not resumed, and the Iranian players are showing no great urgency to actually get the match back underway again. They've got the ball in the centre circle and seem almost reluctant to put it on the centre spot. and the referee's saying to them, come on, kick off. And they're almost delaying in the hope that somebody in the VAR centre, one of his Brazilian colleagues, is going to say, actually, we've seen the 36th angle of that, and there might be an issue. But Iran have kicked off. They had to. They couldn't leave it any longer, and it's confirmed. England lead Iran by 2-0 and are in a very good position now.
Fantastic position, playing with real confidence. They know they're the better team. They know that they can play through the press. They know they can go long. They've got the answers. It's just keeping a foot on the gas and keep going strong, because there's more goals in this for them.
So England win the ball back on the halfway line. Cheshme loses it. Bellingham strongly takes it on. Finds Kane. Kane has a defender with him. Sterling's in the middle. Kane with the cross. Sterling's there! It's 3-0! Super finish on the stretch in the 6-yard box. And England lead by 3-0. First Bellingham, then Saka. Now it's Raheem Sterling. And England are buoyant and joyous here in the Al Khalifa Stadium, and they celebrate in the corner down next to the flag.
There's no arguing with that one. It's brilliant from England, just from the hold up. Kane, play from Kane, they go long initially, buying the option. Saka reads the knockdown. Bellingham does so well to drive forwards with the ball, and then Kane, just a wonderful ball into Sterling. A really good finish with the outside of his foot. But this was it. Iran know that they're beaten now. They know that they can't have got the options. They can't press high. England utilising it to such brilliant effect.
2 goals in the space of a little over 2 minutes towards the end of the first half. We are in added time now at the end of the first period, and there have been 14 minutes of additional time indicated, so there will be a minimum of 14 minutes of added time after that horrible injury to the Iranian goalkeeper Alireza Berenvand. England now just want to make sure that they see this through to half-time. Well, that's what we normally say when you're just into added time at the end of the first half. There's actually still almost a quarter of an hour to play, and England win a free kick halfway inside their own half. Well, from an England point of view, really on the pitch, after everything that's been going on in the last 24 hours with armband gate, etc., etc., you know, that was exactly what they needed in terms of turning their attentions back to matters on the pitch, and what a good first half it's been for them. Let's get another view from Matt Upson. We haven't heard from Matt since England were leading 1-0. We will do in a moment. Long ball downfield though for England, which is headed away back to Sterling. Sterling now gets it down and plays it square to Bellingham, and Bellingham thinks about a shot. Lovely change of feet though, leaves the defender on the ground, but there were others there who join in and are able to take the ball away from Jude Bellingham. But England now playing with a swagger, Rob Green.
Yeah, real joy to watch, real pleasure. And Matt, just wondering there, it was a length of the field move from right in front of you where you were. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was just great move, running off the ball, exactly what Bellingham does, what we spoke about in terms of his running from midfield. I don't know if, John, you want to hand over here?
Yeah, here come England down on the right-hand side towards the byline, but the referee says, yeah, it was a corner that Mohammadi put in the challenge on Trippier, and the final touch was off the Iranian defender, so it is another corner for England from the right. More from Matt in a moment or two, but Trippier waits to take this from the right-hand side. I noticed as well, after England scored their third goal, the television cameras picked out David Beckham in the crowd. Trippier to take the corner then, but this one is headed away securely, and that's the best defended set piece that we've seen from them so far. Bellingham though, as England take up possession again. Here is Raheem Sterling, who's just scored his 20th goal for England, and now it bounces down for Saka in the box. Saka very nearly found the pass to the edge of the area where John Stones was waiting. England come again, they're looking for a fourth here. Stones playing it to the left-hand side. England coming into this World Cup really relatively unfancied generally, even though they've been semi-finalists and finalists at their last 2 major tournaments. But this recent run of form, 6 matches without a win, I think that has influenced many, and understandably so, because some of the performances during that time, but the majority of those performances were in those June games in the Nations League when many countries struggled. This has very much set things back on course, Rob Green, so far.
Absolutely, and you just wonder that just in this 45 minutes or so that they played with more joy and more pleasure and more attacking finesse than they did in all of those games put together, and it's just been what they needed at the start of this tournament was against an opposition that we thought were going to be a lot tougher than they are. They've just known that they're the better team and gone out and proven it.
So Bellingham, Saka and Sterling, the England goal scorers, in a very impressive first half against what's looked like a very limited Iranian team after the great things that they did and how close they got to beating both Spain and Portugal at the last World Cup. As it turned out, lost narrowly to Spain, drew with Portugal and did go out at the group stage, but here 3-0 down after losing the goalkeeper. I mean, you can't underestimate what an early blow that was, as Trippier plays it forward, but the ball's cleared away on the edge of the penalty area, and England will have it again inside their own half. So with Raheem Sterling with that goal, that means that he moves onto the 20-goal mark, which I think is quite a milestone, isn't it, to reach 20 goals for England, 20 goals for your country. And he joins Martin Peters, a World Cup winner of course, and Jermaine Defoe on 20 goals for England. And whenever Sterling has scored for England, England have always won the match.
Well, I don't know how Martin Peters will feel, but I know Jermaine Defoe will be gutted about that.
Here is Rice, who plays the ball to the right-hand side. And now Trippier infield towards Stones, and Stones passing the ball to the left-hand side, and Sterling is there over on the touchline on the left wing, comes back infield to Rice, and then Trippier, and the space here. Space is opening up for England, and now Sterling. And now Saka again on the right-hand side. Saka's a little flick there by Mount, looking for Saka, who's almost onto that, even though there were two defenders there, and the ball bounces away. Final touch off Saka, and behind for a goal kick. So the scoreline is England 3, Iran 0. Just over 5 minutes to play. They used to say about Martin Peters, Rob, that he was the player who was years ahead of his time. I think it was 10 years ahead of his time, Al Framsey used to say, the much missed Martin Peters, who's a real gentleman of the game as well. But, you know, talking about that, as soon as that came to mind, with Jude Bellingham scoring the all-important goal of this match, you know, he's a player who kind of fits that same sort of bill, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, and he's added his first goal to his tally, and you wonder whether he'll get close to that 20 of Martin Peters in the future.
Well, he certainly can bring goals, can't he? And that is one of the things I know that Gareth Southgate wanted to see more of from this team, to be less reliant on the goals of Harry Kane and to score more goals from the midfield areas. England with it inside their own half. We've now played 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes of the 14 that have been added on at the end of the first half. The other big question, by the way, that it's not hardly the biggest question of this World Cup by a long chalk, but what was Gareth Southgate going to wear on the touchline at this tournament? And the answer to that is he's gone for the dark suit again that he was wearing at the end of last season, and I think it's a kind of cream polo shirt underneath that. So that is what's happening in the fashion stakes, the England manager fashion stakes. Here's Stones playing the ball out towards the left-hand side. Shaw keeps it in, and then Raheem Sterling. Back it goes centrally, and Stones once more. England have absolutely controlled the game. Saka, in comes the challenge, and Iran win it back, but Bellingham on the halfway line to win it back, and Rice is behind him, and then back it goes to Trippier again. And really, from a position here, 3-0 in added time at the end of the first half, against this Iranian team, it would be quite a stretch to think that this match will not end in an opening victory for England. And I know I don't want to tempt fate, but...
Yeah, no, you look at it, they've announced themselves to the tournament, and Matt, I was just wondering whether you're thinking now it's just a case of keep ball, really, isn't it, until half-time?
As England play the ball out towards the left-hand side, and Shaw can't keep it in, so it's a throw into Iran in their own right-back area. Let's see if we can bring in Matt Upson from down behind the goal again. Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I can just feel the tempo dropping down here. It's really noticeable. I'm very close to the play, and all of a sudden it's looking a little bit more like just a practice match type tempo. England very comfortable getting into half-time in this situation. We know they've got more goals in them if they push it, but the tempo of this game has really dropped, and they're just able to stroke it about. The confidence they've got going into midfield, little triangles, the space is there, and Iran just aren't quite pressing as much as they were in the opening parts of this game.
Well, that's the tempo. What about the temperature, incidentally, Matt, down there? In fact, we'll come back to you, because Iran have won the ball back on the halfway line. England don't want any slips now in added time at the end of the first half. But across from the left-hand side, and there's space over there on the right-hand side. Jahan Bat pulled away. That was a chance. I mean, that's Iran's only chance. And he snatched at it, and he hit it on the volley high over the top of Jordan Pickford's crossbar.
Well, there's questions offside, but just getting caught overplaying in the centre of midfield. I think he was offside, breaking down the left-hand side, so it wouldn't have stood. But yeah, they managed to get bodies forward, options in the box, and actually outnumbered England. That's it for Iran for the whole of the first half, really.
So it is England 3, Iran 0 in added time at the end of the first half. And as for how it feels down at ground level, with so much talk about the potential heat that these matches would be played in, Matt?
Well, it's interesting, because I was talking to Chappers before the game, and he sold me a story about Ian Dennis getting beetroot-like on his head from a game in the Euros. And I thought, oh, I bought the sun lotion, the hat, everything, John. And actually, I'm sat here in my jumper, and as the sun's gone in, it cools. It really does cool. So in terms of the players, they're absolutely fine. I don't think heat, at this time of kickoff or later, is going to be a problem.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Upson behind the goal. England leading Iran by 3-0, and just as Rob Green said, sitting next to me, just playing keep ball. And so the England approach now, Rob, bearing in mind that the next two matches in the group for England are 10 o'clock kickoffs here in Qatar. So 7 o'clock at home, 10 o'clock here in Qatar, much later in the day. Are we looking now at an operation of conserving energy?
I think you're looking now, and you'd say it wouldn't surprise me 15 minutes into the second half if substitutes are being made. I think they've made the statement. England have shown and found a way to play in this game against a team that sits deep. They've come up with an answer. It's about how many they get now, how they can keep putting the foot on the gas. But I think it's down to Gareth Southgate and his support team, the backroom staffers, to have the conversations at half-time, go, right, OK, what's next?
England leading Iran by 3-0. This is BBC Radio 5 live at the 2022 World Cup, live in Qatar. First of our commentaries today, as Mason Mount is tripped for the umpteenth time, it feels, in the first half, and wins a free kick 25-30 yards out. And I think you know who might fancy a look at this one. Although, actually, Harry Kane has walked away from this. I've seen him hit them from here before, but
he's had joy in the previous free kicks, just drifting outside of the defensive line of Iran. And you're looking now, he's just drifted outside. It's clearly been a ploy to say, look, we've got Stones, we've got Maguire, you go one side, I'll go the other, and it's worked.
So a free kick that's being talked about by Declan Rice, his great friend Mason Mount. Luke Shaw's there as well. If you just switched on, I'm aware of the fact that it is afternoon time back home in the UK. The England team that Gareth Southgate picked today has delivered so far. He's got this free kick. Shaw plays it into the back post. It's gone a long way, and in fact it bounced up. It hit John Stones in the end, who was able to get the ball under control quite cleverly, actually. Gives it back to Trippier, and then through the middle to the man who started the scoring, Jude Bellingham. Rice now to the left-hand side, and Shaw. Bellingham again, first time touch. Quick passing, that's another key with this England team. That's one of the messages that we don't always see delivered on the field. And I think Luke Shaw's just taken a bang on the foot there. Or Mason Mount it is on that far side, but he's okay, he's not going down. And then Shaw plays it back into his own half, and Maguire has to come across, and he, I think, was caught, but he's okay, and England have it inside their own half. So we've now played almost an hour of the first half, So we are almost at the point where these 14 minutes of added time have been played. And in fact, there it is. There is the whistle from Rafael Klaus, the Brazilian referee. What a start that is from England. What a statement. Yeah, you have to feel for Iran. I think the scenes before the match as well, the conflicting emotions, what happened when the Iranian national anthem was being played. The Iranian players did not sing at all. There was a mixed reaction to that inside the stadium. They then had their huddle before the match. You know, clearly this is an emotional occasion for these Iranian players. And then they lost their goalkeeper, their important goalkeeper, with a horrible looking facial injury. It looked like he'd broken his nose. Took an age for them to decide that he needed to come off the field, which he clearly did. But then England have just dominated it. Bellingham, Saka and Sterling have scored the goals, the second and third coming late in the 45 minutes. And this is it's England's game, Rob Green.
Absolutely. They've made the statement. They've played some really good football, scored 3 fantastic goals, been clinical with their chances, looked dangerous, got options. They're ticking all the boxes. Iran, yeah, they seem overwhelmed by the occasion and they've been put to the sword.
Yep, stories, all 3 of the goals. Bellingham's first for England. Saka scoring in his first tournament match after what happened at the Euros in the final last year, and then Raheem Sterling with his 20th for England. So at half-time here in the Khalifa Stadium, England lead Iran by 3-0. And Mark Chapman is here with us inside the stadium.
Yeah, the goals have been a really good quality, haven't they, Rob?
Brilliant, really good one-touch football for one. A clever header from Harry Maguire met with a wonderful volley from Saka, and then Sterling's finished after another fantastic length of the pitch move. They've just ticked all the boxes and they've come up with answers and they've really enjoyed it.
You actually can't find a weakness in that first half performance, can you, Robert? They've all contributed in some way.
Yeah, they've all contributed. They've all played with confidence. They've all played with an assuredness on there. That it's not been picture perfect. You wouldn't want it to be picture perfect all the time because they've got to take chances. But when they have got it right, they've looked really dangerous.
All the England subs at the moment are out warming up, Matt. Maybe with the hope that they're going to actually, if they do get on, they'll get a decent run at this, because you would imagine, given how comfortable it has been, Southgate can make plenty of changes and make them quite early.
Well, Jack Grealish and Phil Foden are just volleying the ball between each other right in front of me, and it's like, I'm looking at those two. They've watched that first half and must be looking at that thinking, I can't wait to get on that pitch, want to score, want to be creative, because you just feel that the spaces are going to open up. Chappers, you know, they look a little bit lost at the moment, Iran, and you think if England can just be as controlled. The only thing that worried me was just that little period before that chance that Jahanbakhsh had. We mentioned how the tempo had dropped, it got a little bit training game-like. It then came back after that chance. I think that's the only thing you've got to watch out for, not to slow it down too much and just become too loose.
Danny Murphy, part of our team in Qatar. Afternoon, Danny.
Chappers, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, thank you. What stood out for you so far in that first half?
Oh, it's hard to look past Bellingham. I mean, he's demanding the ball, keeping the play going, getting on the end of things, mixing his play up, dropping deep, running forward off the ball. The goal, obviously, that settles everyone down. I think sometimes when you watch him play, forget how young he is. I mean, there's been some good performances from there's not been any bad ones, has there? But no, he's just an exceptional young man.
It looks quite a balanced midfield, that, actually.
Well, it's the midfield I chose, actually, before the tournament. I think the other thing as well, of course, is you've got 2 fullbacks at the moment, really comfortable in their own skin, comfortable on the ball, the distribution through the lines, and I mean the cross from Shaw as well. Those bits of quality in wide areas. It just looks really nice, and the tempo's been great. That's the key, isn't it? When you play those teams that put everyone behind the ball, it's moving the ball quickly and through the lines and forward, and it's been pretty much perfect.
And as I was just saying to Matt, it really gives Southgate options now, doesn't it? He could get quite 5 of his squad if you want to. He could get some minutes in them here at a World Cup, give some of that starting 11 a rest. He has real options now.
He really does. That's a delicate one, isn't it? Because I know Harry Kane won't want to be coming off, that's for sure. But if you think of someone like Declan Rice, who's played nearly every minute for West Ham and for about 2 years hardly had a break, that's the type of player I'd be looking at protecting. But yeah, in forward areas, of course, you wouldn't mean Saka. maybe after 60, 65, there's likes of Foden and Grealish and Rashford to come on. Why not? Why would you risk them in the first game? I think it's just about choosing who's going to come off. I'd be amazed if we didn't see at least 3 or 4, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Danny, thank you very much.
Cheers,
Matt Hudson, thank you. Matt, at the moment, you're in the middle of a light show at the moment. They've pitched the stadium. Well, they did pitch the stadium into darkness and put a sort of star and galaxy video on the as in the universe, not the newspaper in the chocolate bar, on the on a big screen, and also that then goes across the top of the dugouts as well, which have LEDs on them. And
sorry, chaps. Forget the players trying to warm up for the second half. It's more important that the advertising gets in, isn't it?
They did. They took all the England players who were warming up, had to go off as the stadium was plunged into darkness. Just one other serious point from that first half, and I know it happened at the opposite end to where you were, but even where you were, you could see the force with which the Iranian keeper was hit by his own player, and laid out, really. And for him to stay on after such a long stoppage, as several people have pointed out, Luke Griggs, interim chief executive of Headway UK, somebody called NRL Physio on social media as well. It is a terrible look on the world stage. For what looked like the player himself to decide to stay on, even if it was for a minute, just staying on is not good enough.
Well, there's not many better examples of a situation where a player needs to be removed immediately. That was it. That was the situation, and I understand he's a tough lad and obviously desperate to stay on the pitch, but you cannot allow the player to make that call. It's just impossible to put that on them. So that in terms of the protocol, every country must have understood what the moves are, what's acceptable, what isn't. So I cannot understand. And also, look what it's done to the game in terms of how it's dragged out that first half. The stop, it has such a knock. It restarted, then we had to stop again. And all of that, it was just a mess, wasn't it? It was like they just didn't quite know how to handle that situation, which is poor.
Luke Griggs went on to say, and he's the interim chief executive of Headway UK, it was the first test of the FIFA World Cup concussion protocol, and it was an abject failure. Still to come in this group this evening, Wales against USA. That gets underway at 7 o'clock UK time. At 4 o'clock, Senegal against the Netherlands, and we'll have full commentary of both. Chris Sutton and Alistair Breeze-Ball doing Netherlands-Senegal, Ian Dennis and Dion Dublin, and James Collins doing the Wales game. It is here in Qatar 6 minutes past 5, in the UK 6 minutes past 2, and time for the latest news.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
With the 5 Live News, I'm Matthew Bone. England and Wales have dropped plans to wear the One Love rainbow armband during the Qatar World Cup after FIFA said any players wearing it would be booked. The armband was created to promote LGBT rights, diversity and inclusion. Belgium, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands and Switzerland have also dropped plans to wear it. Officials in the Indonesian province of West Java say at least 56 people have been killed in a powerful earthquake. The provincial governor said more than 700 others had been injured. In Ukraine, inspectors from the United Nations are going to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant to assess the level of damage from recent shelling there. More than a dozen blasts were heard in the last 2 days at the site. And NASA's Artemis spacecraft has arrived at the moon. The Orion capsule swept 80 miles above the lunar surface and will now begin to enter a larger orbit.
The best live sport.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022.
Coverage of every game on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Wales get their tournament underway tonight at 7 as they take on the USA.
Oh, he scored! Bill for Wales!
It will be a special occasion. All we can do now is try and do the nation proud like we always do.
Take the World Cup with you.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Mark Chapman.
Sterling is there, now Shaw with the cross, Bellingham heads it in! England score! And it's Jude Bellingham who scores England's first goal at this World Cup, and his first goal for England.
At one end of the stadium erupts with the England fans, and there's pockets everywhere. just celebrating that goal. It's a brilliant goal from England.
Maguire is the target, he got his head to it, and then it's driven in by Saka. England score their second goal and are now in charge of this opening group match. Sterling's in the middle, Kane with the cross, Sterling's there! It's 3-0! Super finish on the stretch in the 6-yard box, and England lead by 3-0. First Bellingham, then Saka, now it's Raheem Sterling.
3-0 then, second half on the way at kickoff. The stadium was far from full here, and there were reports that fans had been unable to get in because of issues with the official ticketing app. The BBC's Ria Chauhan was outside the ground. What did you see?
Well, Mark, we saw, and it's safe to say, hundreds of fans, both Iran and England, crowded around the ticketing centre trying to get in through the gate. And when you looked through the gate, you could see even more. And I spoke to an Iranian fan. She'd flown in from Canada, and she said that her ticket hadn't been activated on the official ticketing app, as you mentioned. And, you know, so this is linked to the hire app. That's the same one that you used to get into the country. You needed to buy tickets, book accommodation. And she said that she'd been waiting there for 2 hours, and you could see that the crowd were becoming increasingly frustrated. We spoke to another England fan. She'd kind of got in there earlier because she wanted to take in the atmosphere, and now she's worried she's going to miss the national anthem. And spoke to a guy called Ian from York who was absolutely raging. He said it was an absolute shambles. And we saw an official who was basically getting told on comms to redirect the fans to another gate if they had proof of their ticket, like a photograph or an email. And yeah, so it was messy.
OK, Ria, thank you very much. One line away from the World Cup, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst has been sacked by Rangers. They're 9 points behind Celtic in the Scottish Premiership title race, and they had that awful Champions League campaign as well. Let's focus on Wales next, taking on USA, 7 o'clock tonight. Full commentary here on 5 Live. Their first game in a World Cup since 1958. Here's Gareth Bale.
It's probably the biggest honour we could have to do for our country is to qualify for a World Cup, something that we haven't done, like everybody knows, for 64 years. And it's something that is history in our country. It's schools are gonna stop to watch our games. Kids are gonna miss school, fortunately for them. So it's just one of those moments that is a massive piece of history in our country, something that we've all wanted for a long time. And like I said, to be the team that was to get over the line and do that for our country is incredible. And we know we have the support of a nation back home. No matter what happens, as long as we give 100%, our country will love us for that. The flags are going up, everyone's wearing their bucket hats more, and the shirts are out. So yeah, we feel the buzz back at home here, and yeah, we're obviously going to try and do them proud like we always do, and yeah, hopefully we can celebrate with them once we win some games and score some goals. So yeah. Obviously, we're doing it for our country, and they'll be supporting us incredibly like they always do.
7 o'clock for that here on 5 Live, 4 o'clock for the Netherlands against Senegal. John Murray and Rob Green are ready to go alongside me for the second half here at the Khalifa Stadium in Qatar. The referee is ready to go. John, it would appear that neither set of players want to come out to do the second half.
No, and I've spoken to a few of our colleagues at half-time, a number of whom have been suggesting, well, this could be a long second half now. And I was saying, what do you want? England are 3-0 up in the opening match of the World Cup, and now they're complaining that it's going to be a long second half. But I'll tell you a point that was made to me, which I think is very valid, is if you go back to the Harry Kane incident when he wasn't awarded the penalty early on in the match, it's actually shades of what happened in Russia in the first match against Tunisia, when England strongly felt that they should have had a penalty. He actually kicked up a fuss about that, if you remember, or at least, you know, went to FIFA. And what happened in the next game? England got 2 penalties against Panama.
Yeah, they did. Although it feels less of an issue, doesn't it, John, because of this scoreline? Do you not think?
Yeah, well, it does, but further down the line.
Okay.
You know, and I do feel that what we saw here with that incident, Rob, kind of set the tone for the officiating, and actually could cause something of a change, because that will be widely discussed.
It changed in the half, because then we had the goal that was scored from a Maguire knockdown header, and he was fairly unchallenged. Maguire hit the bar as well, where John Stones had a free run as well. So all of a sudden, the Iran players had to change. They had to change immediately. So they're right. They made that point. England have made the point. It's only not an issue because they played so well and scored so many goals. It's hopefully, I'm looking forward to a long second half.
Well, I tell you what, if some of John's colleagues feel it's going to be a long second half, it might feel even longer for the Iranian players. They're 3-0 down and they've made a triple substitution. Have you managed to note all that down, correspondent?
I think so. Thank you very much for using the time there for me. And the second half gets underway. England leading Iran by 3-0. And so these are changes number 2, 3 and 4 for Iran. Of course, the first change, Baron Van going off in the first half, was a concussion substitution, but they've taken off Cheshmi, Karimi and Jahanbach, who had that late and only chance for Iran. And they've brought on, as the ball goes back to Jordan Pickford in the England goal. He's playing the ball out to the far side. But what I'll do is I'll run you through the England team again while they have possession inside their own half. They are unchanged as they started the match, with Pickford in goal, Trippier, Stones, Maguire and Shaw are the back fours. Pickford was almost caught in possession, clearing the ball away from near the foot of his left post, but he was able to get enough on that. And he's and I just wonder whether he might have jarred his foot or his knee as Iran win a free kick in the central third. So the rest of the England team, if you've not heard it, if you just got back into your car, if you've been out at work today, that back four, Trippier, Stones, Maguire and Shaw. Then in midfield, Rice, Bellingham and Mount. And then Saka on the right, Sterling on the left and Kane through the middle. I mean, 3 England goal scorers in that first half: Bellingham, Saka and Sterling. And it is Iran who are in the red kit, shirts, shorts and socks with the white trim and white numbers, as all of those substitutes are being announced over the public address system. So I hope you can still hear us. As England play an early ball through the middle, but that is dealt with and the ball's played out towards the right-hand side to Moharami. And Moharimi takes it on and gives it forward to one of the substitutes, Ali Golazada, but Iran lose possession. And now here's Saka on the right-hand side. The ball is taken up for England by Kane, who whips it across, so that's headed away, bounces around on the edge of the penalty area and then is volleyed towards the halfway line. So yes, the 3 Iranian players to come on: Goli Zada, who's a forward player, also Kan Aniz Ardagan, who is one of the central defenders, the number 13, and into midfield Saeed Ezzatollah has come on in that position. Free kick to Iran, halfway inside their own half. Rob Green is with us here in the commentary position in the Khalifa Stadium. Matt Upson is behind the goal. England World Cup players both, and England just standing off. Do you think they might have made a change at half time, just to leave it a little bit longer?
No, leave it a bit longer, make sure, see it through to the hour mark, then start looking ahead.
Oh, Kane slips the ball past the defender, but then the challenge comes in on him, slides in from and it is a yellow card that is shown. And I'm just looking at Harry Kane. That was quite a heavy contact there, and Kane has gone down, and he is, I think it's his ankle. And Matt Upson's behind the goal. You'll have had a good view of that, Matt, when the defender came in with the challenge.
Yeah, bang on, John. I was right in front of it, and it was one of those tackles where Kane had got past the defender, and the tackle came in kind of from behind or the side. But the timing was really unfortunate, because as his foot got planted, that's when the contact happened. So he's a little bit caught in the turf, and it's that right ankle. And as we know, in the past, his ankles have been a little bit of a problem in terms of obviously the amount he must get kicked with how he holds the ball up. But that certainly was unfortunate, the timing, and he's gone down. He doesn't look too happy.
No, that's not a good challenge. Poor Ali Ganji it is who put in the challenge on him, and the England captain has stayed down and has clearly felt that. So this is a concern. It's just outside the D on the edge of the penalty area. Kane is now getting to his feet and he's stretching down, stretching his left leg and going down on his left knee while flexing the other leg forward. What do you think, Rob?
Well, this is what we were talking about making the changes. This is clearly the worry, clearly the issue. I mean, if there's ever a warning sign that there needs to be changes made in a game where it looks like it's going to be a bit of a nothing second half, or a second half where Iran are going to struggle to put up a fight, then take off your main man, because he is obviously such a big part of this England side.
Kane has been led to the side of the pitch and off the pitch, having received treatment. Seems okay, and he's walking now. Okay, he's walking back towards the England coaching area, the absolutely massive coaching area. Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland were at the other corner, the opposite corner. They're about 25 yards away from him. So Kane is back on the field, and it looks as though things are okay. Trippier with the free kick, hits it straight into the wall. Comes back to the Newcastle man, who tried to play it square, and it was cleared away to the halfway line by Stones. We'll give it to Luke Shaw. So England 3, Iran 0. This is BBC Radio 5 live in Qatar at the World Cup, and England coming forward again. Sterling with the back heel. It bounces for that is a foul as well in the back of Trippier, who was caught there from the challenge by Noor Alohi, and England have it again inside their own half. That looked like a poor challenge as well.
That was naughty, really naughty. Late, meant it, and this is a danger of the second half being littered with fouls of Techi and Nigli half, where Iran just don't want to have this second half of a free-flowing game of football. They want it to be grinding to a halt. Matt, just looking at the atmosphere and down on the pitch, you can almost hear the players now. It's gone so quiet, and it seems to be quite tetchy down there.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, like you mentioned, Iran are just not looking to get hold of the ball that much. They're just more concerned about stopping England, have control and be comfortable. And there's been two really late tackles. That one, he just trod on the top of Kieran Trippier's foot, just the studs on top of the foot. Previous one obviously was a little bit worse in terms of it was Kane's ankle, but maybe this is the issue that England are going to have in this second half, just to try and keep fit and healthy, move the ball quickly. I think it's the key. Don't play any contentious passes. If you need to be safe with it at times, then do that and give your teammate plenty of time on the ball.
So Matt down at pitch side, and Rob Green with me here. England on the defence here. Harry Maguire steps forward and then is able to clear it away, and the ball is out of play on the far side.
Well, it seems like everyone stayed for the second half at least.
It does. Good point, Rob. Today it was more of an issue for the England fans to actually get into the match, as Iran come forward down the left-hand side, but the ball runs away and it is goal kick for England that Pickford will look to take. So Carlos Queiroz has made 4 changes, and England yet to make their first. 3-0 the score. This is the first of our 3 commentary matches on 5 Live today. If you're on your way home and have tuned into us on 5 Live, the next one, Senegal, Netherlands, with Alistair Bruce Ball and Chris Sutton, who will be in the Al Toumana Stadium. And then tonight, the big night for Wales, back in the World Cup, USA against Wales. That is from 10 o'clock UK time, with Ian Dennis and Dion Dublin in the stadium, and James Collins back in the UK, as England come forward down the right-hand side and into the penalty area. Bellingham's done well again. The ball is pulled across to the near post, and it's tucked away behind for a corner to England from the right-hand side. But again, strong play from Jude Bellingham, who is one of the men of the night.
Yeah, that's such strong play, and it's the right word, because for someone who's so young, just shrugging challenges off to make his way into the box, and picked his pass. It got cut out in the end, but that threat from every angle from England, really, that they've got so many options when they go forward, drive forward, play long forward. It's just the choices they have, the things that cause Iran the problems.
Corner then for England. Here it comes. Goalkeeper Hosseini comes, gets a punch on it in amongst a crowd of players. Comes out to the edge of the penalty area. The ball's won back by Rice. Rice then drives the ball across, and it comes off the defender, Haisafi, the captain, and loops behind for another corner to England from the right. 3-0 England lead.
Yeah, started up as we left off in the first half and making all those changes around. They can change the shape. They haven't. They've kept the same shape, but they're still coming up against the same problems. It's not going to change anything. England are confident. They're on the ball. They're just trying to save themselves from a real beating.
The latest England corner, aiming for Maguire, but it's over the top of him this time as he made the run towards the penalty spot from the far side of the box. And England now start again, playing from right to left towards the end, where most of the England supporters are. I think most of them were able to get into their seats. The e-ticketing problems before the match. Back it comes to Shaw. And now here is Mason Mount with a cross. Hosseini's watching it carefully, but it was a comfortable catch for him, backing away, and he overarms it out and falls over as he does so. But he's managed to find Haisafi, but Bellingham was there with a covering challenge and it bounced out of play. So the Iranian team now look to take a long throw, but England were alive to it, and Bellingham is able to play the ball back, although it's given away by Trippier. And Iran look to perhaps create something on the edge of the England box, but Maguire's able to step forward, take it away, give it to Sterling, now to Kane. Lovely little flip from Kane, back to Sterling. It could open up for him to the edge of the penalty area, but the covering challenge was there. Hosseini was coming across and was able to take the ball away off Sterling's toe and put it behind for a corner.
Wonderful flow move from Kane and Sterling, and he's away. Just never seemed to get when he got the return pass, never really seemed to had it under control. Covering tackle came in, but again, when they do want to, when they do get it right, Iran just cannot live with England.
The Wales match tonight kicking off at 7 o'clock. So Senegal, Netherlands, 4 o'clock UK time. USA Wales kicks off at 7 o'clock UK time. 10 o'clock here in Qatar. Shaw to take the corner from the left. Kane seems okay after that nasty challenge. By the way, poor Ali Ganji was booked for that challenge. I can't remember if I mentioned that, the central defender. Shaw with the corner of the near post. Rice was after it, but a defender was there as well. Mount challenges for it on the edge of the area, but that's a foul. He jumped into the Iranian player, and it's a free kick on the edge of the box. So the Iranian team now, after the rejig, the multiple substitutions, substitute goalkeeper Hosseini, Moharami on the right-hand side, and then Khan Anizadagan, Pour Ali Ganji, Hosseini and Mohammadi, and then in midfield Ezatole and Haisafi, with Golizada on the right, Nuralohi on the left, and Taremi through the middle. England in good shape, 3-0 up, and the ball being played out from the back, but it's intercepted. That pass forward from Harry Maguire, and then a slip. Saka was very nearly onto it, but Iran have got it back. There is a greater brightness to a degree to Iran in the second half.
A bit of life that's come about, but it just gradually got worn down in that first half. They've changed nearly half the team now, so it's kind of it's one that you'd hope there'd be a bit more urgency to them.
Ball forward for Iran. Stones was able to come across and find Maguire. Back to Pickford. Jordan Pickford tonight winning his 46th cap, and then it's headed out of play on the halfway line for a throw-in to England. Mason Mount just has a look. He's had some rough treatment, Mason Mount, during the course of this match. And actually conceded the foul himself just a few moments ago, but took a knock there as well.
There's a few now in the England team, taking a few knocks, which are at least Premier League worthy, we'd say.
Well, Harry Kane, you know, as is very well documented, has had problems with ankle injuries, but he was talking this season to us about how he has made great efforts and gone to get the best possible treatment and help that he can to improve that situation. Bellingham playing it forward to Saka on the left-hand side. Back to Sterling. Sterling couldn't find the pass to Mount on the edge of the penalty area. It was cleared away. The defender was able to step in. Now it's hit long downfield for Iran. Taremi is after it, but the referee has spotted an infringement. Handball, and it's a free kick to England, 10 yards inside their own half. So almost 15 minutes of the second half played. So join us all the way through this World Cup. I mean, every match is on either 5 Live, Sports Extra, the World Service as well. But you know, if you're on the move, and I'm sure you will be during the daytime games, there's every chance you will be able to listen to it all via BBC Sounds. So take the World Cup with you wherever you go on BBC Sounds. As England come forward with Saka, now here's Bellingham near the edge of the penalty area, comes to Shaw, he hits the shot, that's deflected into the box, only half cleared, and then volleyed out of play for a throw into England down the left hand side here.
Jude Bellingham is everywhere. He's just patrolling the pitch. It just seems to be where the ball goes, it's just him arriving there, whether he's covering in, defending, attacking. It just seems to find he has that ability to be at the right place at the right time.
Well, the hour mark is approaching, and whether England are thinking about changes, there are in golden bibs, there are 3, 4, 5, 6 England players warming up there. And the possibility, I'm sure Gareth Southgate will use his full complement here. So 1, 2, 3 of the golden bibs might be coming on. And the ball is out of play for a throw into England on the far side. On the subject of substitutes, Matt Upson.
Yeah, there's a few, John, isn't there? Just getting ready, whether or not the intent, you can always tell because the little bit of tempo, the warm-up just kicks on a little notch when you know a player's had a little word in their ear. There's been a member of staff out of the England team as well, just keeping an eye on some of the players, having a little chat with them, whether or not he'll be the person to let them know. But I'm with you and Greeny thinking that a change must be imminent.
Iran coming forward, and a shot from way out, actually, which I thought might have taken a little deflection there, but no, there's no suggestion of it. And that effort was well wide of the mark from Ezatole, so it's a goal kick to England. So 3-0 it is, and England's next matches, in case you're thinking ahead, the programme is England's next match is on Friday against the United States. That's at 7 o'clock in the UK. And then the Wales game is on the Tuesday night at the same time. So England's next 2 matches kick off 7 o'clock in the evening, UK time. Ball is back with goalkeeper Hosseini down to our left, just bounces the ball on the ground. And I think the discussions might be taking place, but it looks as though perhaps the next change is going to be another Iranian change. Here's Sterling centrally, he's tackled but rides the challenge nicely, gives it to Saka on the edge of the box, into the area now on his left foot, trying to find a position, which he does, and shoots and scores, and it's 4-0 to England, and Bukayo Saka has got his second of the match. This is a great story. Bukayo Saka, one of the Gareth Southgate favourites. Think of everything that happened to him last year at the end of the final of the Euros, when he ended up in Gareth Southgate's arms in tears, and now here on the big stage again at the World Cup. 2 goals in the match, and England lead Iran now by 4 goals to 0.
He's had so much joy down that right-hand side in this second half, and again, it's wonderful play from Sterling just to hold the ball up, ride a challenge, take the blow for the team, and then from there, backing off. Matt, just one, you can't defend like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was right behind the strike, and I think they actually made Saka's mind up, to be honest, because he came in, and I think he was looking to offload the ball because it was a bit close, but he just saw Iran just weren't coming out, and he thought, OK, I'll have another touch inside, have another touch. The distance was there, and when you hit it to bodies, I mean, you as a goalkeeper, Rob, will know, it's the hardest shot to save, isn't it? The deflection, any kind of nick on the way through from any player is a major problem. That was quite a big deflection, but well played to Saka for just being positive.
Yeah, I mean, Hosseini there, you look at his reaction, he's just turned to his defenders, he's clamping his hands together to say, get tight. He's got all the time in the world. I don't think he ever really got the ball out of his feet, and it wasn't the greatest of strikes. He will not care.
England 4, Iran 0. Carlos Queiroz has made what is his 5th substitution while England was celebrating. The left back Milad Mohammadi has come off, and Mehdi Torabi has come on to replace him. So England leading 4-0 in their first match at a World Cup, and at least 2 England substitutes are now preparing to come on as England take possession back on the edge of their own penalty area. It is 3 changes coming very shortly. So Callum Wilson is coming on, Marcus Rashford as well, as Iran have to clear from near the edge of their own penalty area. And Phil Foden also, but Iran coming forward, trying to vainly try and get something to take away from this match. Cross from the right hand side, but straight at Harry Kane, who's able to clear it. The ball coming in from Nuralohi on the right flank. It's out of play. I'm not going to say the changes yet. I think it's going to be a quadruple change, Rob, with Jack Grealish.
Just keep coming and coming.
Yeah, so 4 have emerged from underneath the big, narrow, wide red roof of the England dugout. I think it is going to be just the 4 at the moment. What a luxury this is for a manager in his opening match at a World Cup to be able to do this, particularly here in the Gulf with the conditions that have been so well documented. Iran have this throw in, the ball slipped through into the penalty area, and a chance here, and it's a goal. Brilliant finish. Taremi has scored it. It was slipped into the penalty area beautifully by Gully Zadeh. Lovely play from him on the edge of the box, but the ball was played through, and Taremi of Porto was onto it in a flash, and that's an excellent finish actually, high above Pickford. Iran have got a goal, but England lead 4-1.
Yeah, he's a player of real quality, and he's had so little in the game, but it is Gully Zadeh on the edge of the box with the clever play. He just lends the ball into it and asking the run to be made, drifts round the back of Harry Maguire. John Stones can't get round. It's a brilliant strike from 9 yards in off the underside of the bar, and Harry Maguire's now gone down injured, not sure why, but just a momentary lapse from England, and they'll need to wake up from that.
Just looking at Maguire, trying to work out what happened there, whether he's fallen awkwardly. England are going to make their changes, but just waiting to see what the situation is with Harry Maguire before they do that. The board is being brought forward by the 4th official. The 4 England men are waiting there, and it looks as though this might be a bang on the head as well, you know, for Harry Maguire, judging by what the England medical team are doing. One of them is crouched in front of Harry Kane and holding up his index finger and doing the, follow my finger with your eyes.
Yeah, I don't know whether just a trailing arm from Taremi that caught him from the strike on the goal, and he seems to have taken a blow. I think it's on the cheekbone. They're checking around the eye socket, so it's something that they're taking every precaution with, and rightly so, as we saw in the first half, where maybe you're wondering they were taking a chance with it.
Harry Maguire it is, by the way. I might have said Harry Kane there, but Harry Maguire it is who's sitting on the ground, having taken a bang on the face. So Gareth Southgate not yet making the changes, because it might be. In fact, Eric Dyer's now actually been called forward instead. So it looks as though it's Eric Dyer who's going to come on. And while we have yet another stoppage in this match, but an important one nevertheless, another thought from you, Matt, Upson down behind the goal.
Yeah, well, it was just one of those moves where the ball had popped in and we just switched off for that momentary second. And when you do with players like Taremi, who he's been the real danger man in terms of his movement and his goal scoring capability. He made a nice little diagonal run, and it's tough for a centre back because you lose that player on your right and you know it's a straight pass on the left hand side of you, and Maguire just couldn't adjust to it. It was a nice run, really well timed, maybe just identifying that a bit earlier and getting your body in to try and block that passageway, but nice move from Iran.
Is that a lack of game time, Matt? Is that he hasn't played as much?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is starting position as well, though, Rob, in terms of knowing where Taremi is, seeing where the ball has just popped into. All of a sudden that adjustment's got to be quicker. Either just drop straight off, shuffle your positions to try and cut out the pass, almost gamble sometimes if you're in trouble. But, it was nicely worked. It was a nice time run, and the finish was excellent.
Well, Harry Maguire has been led away off the field, but England have not been able to bring on Eric Dyer, for which he's had a word to say to the 4th official there, and I think that they're saying we weren't able to get the paperwork done or get the electronic board sorted out, so England are playing with 10 men at the moment. Yeah. And Jude Bellingham's had to drop in alongside John Stones in central defence.
The 4th official has not many jobs, and one of them isn't the boards to hold up for the substitutes, and he didn't have one, so he can't come on.
And Steve Holland is not best pleased about this, and understandably so. England 4, Iran won. England and the FA, of course, not in the best of humour with FIFA after the events of the last 24 hours and the armband farrago. So Jude Bellingham at central defence wins a header, gets up and heads it away in stately fashion. But against the 10 men currently, Iran are coming forward and they're looking for a second goal. And here's the ball on the right-hand side and the defender falls over and it's played back towards the edge of the box, but the shot is blocked. It comes out, and then with his left foot, a stretching effort is sent well wide by Nouralohi, and it is a goal kick.
Well, this is a mess because England need to get Derek Dyer on the pitch, and they're all a bit all over the place because Bellingham had done the right thing and dropping into centre half, but no one had dropped into the midfield, so there's a great big hole there. Iran has exploited it. It all has become a little bit messy. The Iran fans have got the voice back, and it all seems a little bit out of control from England for a few moments, but the subs are coming on now, which will inevitably take its toll on the game and die it down again.
Well, that's been the worst 5 minutes of the World Cup so far for England, conceding the goal that Taremi scored, and then Kieran Trippier rather comically falling over actually as Iran attacked, as he tried to twist around, lost balance, fell over inside the box, and then Iran ended up with a shot on the England goal. But now we're going to see the rest of these substitutions. So Eric Dyer's on to win his 48th cap for England, missed the Euros, wasn't selected, but of course played such a big part in the World Cup in Russia 4 years ago. Jack Grealish is on for his 25th cap. Phil Foden also onto the field to win his 19th cap for England. And Mason Mount has made way. And who is the other player who has come on? It is Marcus Rashford who is on. So Marcus Rashford makes his England comeback as Shaw is able to turn and give the ball back to Pickford. So here tonight in Doha, Marcus Rashford now gets his first touch of the ball and he's into the area and he slips it in. Left-footed finish, a 5th goal for England. And Marcus Rashford, who's been out of the England picture completely since the final of the Euros last year, instantly back into the action here in Doha and scores what is his 13th goal for his country, and England lead 5-1 against Iran in their opening group match.
Wow, it's a dream start for Marcus Rashford. First touch of the ball, driving into the box. You're thinking he's going to shoot with his stronger right foot. Cool as you like, steps inside. Gareth Southgate wanted more goals from away from Harry Kane, and we've got them tonight, but it was brilliant play from Harry Kane to hold it up, lay it off, and that is just as simple, looked like a simple finish, but he made it look simple.
Matt, what about your view of that?
Yeah, well, England fans in dreamland behind me here, John, really getting behind that. You can tell they're all pretty relaxed now and enjoying the game, but I thought it was all about the contact that Harry Kane made just before he controlled it. He had a little look over his shoulder, saw the centre-half, and just stepped into him, took that contact, just bumped him, and the touch at the sky, well, it was absolute world-class. It set the whole chance up, and then it was a simple pass wide, let Marcus Rashford do his thing, but the ability for Kane to know his surroundings, know the centre-half's there, use him just to take that contact and then have the touch was absolutely brilliant.
Well, there we are. Rashford makes it 5-1 to England. So Marcus Rashford scores on Monday the 21st of November 2022. The last time he kicked a ball for England was when he hit the post with the penalty last summer in the European Championship final. Form, injuries have played a part in that, but he's not got onto the field for England since that day of the final.
Well, if Gareth Southgate was looking for things to happen in this game, what do I need to happen? That was one of them, and yeah, he'll feel back at home, back involved and scoring in a World Cup. Can't take that away from him now.
No, and another assist for Harry Kane, but not a goal yet. England score 5 goals in their opening match at the World Cup, and Kane doesn't get any of them.
It's a drought.
It's an official drought. Are you worried, Gareth? Should that be my opening question?
Yeah. Please, see, I don't know. If we could see his picture of his face when you get a response, that'd be great.
England 5, Iran 1. We'll try and bring you live interviews from down in the dressing room area, but I'm conscious of the fact that we will be pretty much straight into Senegal, Netherlands, which kicks off 4 o'clock UK time. And we'll have commentary on Senegal, Netherlands from 4 o'clock, and then USA, Wales from 7 o'clock. And then you'll be able to have your say on 606, by the way, after that. Double Chris Sutton today, double Sutton. They'll be on from 10 o'clock to take your calls on 5 Live before it all begins again tomorrow in the morning with Rick Edwards, who's here with us in Doha. I don't know whether you've crossed paths with him yet, Rob.
I will be tomorrow morning.
Yeah, good, excellent. Pleased to hear about that. So 6 a.m. every morning, 5 Live breakfast from here in Doha, and take the World Cup with you all day long on BBC Sounds on your device. I hope the app works better than the ticketing app that FIFA had in operation for this match tonight that caused problems for the England fans before the game. Callum Wilson is now going to come on and make his World Cup debut, and it is Harry Kane who will make way. So no goals then for the captain in the opening match. There was a worrying moment when he sustained that what looked like an injury from the poor Ali Ganji tackle, but that is it, and he's handed the armband around, and on comes Callum Wilson then. So this is nice as well. Callum Wilson, who won his first cap back in 2018, scored on his debut against the United States, but has been out of the picture for 3 years. So it's his first cap for England for 3 years, and it is his 5th in all. So Callum Wilson on for Harry Kane to have a go in the number 9 position up front. So England leading Iran by 5-1. Down to side to Matt Upson.
I just wonder if anyone's surprised that Jude Bellingham hasn't come off at all. I mean, he's everywhere, and you just see him turn with the ball, then he got clumsily tackled from behind, and that for me is the biggest concern looking at this game at the moment. He's been so good, and he's putting so much energy into this game. You almost kind of want him, get him to stand still, or just let him have a rest and take it easy for a bit.
Now, going into the game, he wasn't a cert for the starting 11, but after this performance today, you're kind of looking at it thinking, there's no way you can take him out the team now.
So 5-1, and this, if it stays like this will be England's most handsome victory in an opening match at a World Cup. But the ball is played through, and Taremi is in again, but this time, as he ran away from Eric Dyer on the edge of the penalty area into the box, the ball sort of bounced away from him. He rather slashed at it and hit it well wide. Goal kick.
It's a good long straight ball down the channel, and he's onto it. The whole stemmed from Jude Bellingham having the ball and firing it into Phil Foden. It's a great pass at lending in the ball. I'll give you the ball, I'll trust you with the ball, and it wasn't a great touch from Phil Foden. He lost it. England were open. Another sub for Iran.
Well, this is interesting because it's Azmoun who is coming on. Sardar Azmoun, who was a doubt with a calf injury, the Bayer Leverkusen man, and he's been quite outspoken against the Iranian regime, against the government there, and when he ran onto the field, there were clearly whistles and boos from the Iranian section there. So that mirrors the kind of thing that we saw before the match, when there was whistling and booing from the Iranian supporters when their players did not sing the national anthem. But he's onto the field, one of the most important players, 3rd on the all-time list of Iranian goal scorers in international football. But England now, here's Phil Foden, one of the England substitutes, and he gets the ball back on the right-hand side, and he's looking for Rashford, who's already in the goals. Foden, this is classic Phil Foden, twisting, turning, all business, full 360 degrees, then finding his Manchester City teammate Grealish. Now it's back to Rashford on the right-hand side, poor ball into the penalty actually by Rashford, and it bounces away, and England are able to clear away, Iran are able to clear away to Bellingham. So all of the changes have been made. Now that's 5 changes for him. In actual fact, he might have one more left, mightn't he, because of the Harry Maguire concussion injury. The official attendance was announced there, which I just missed. I'm not sure we're able to pick it up in that language, whatever that was.
It didn't matter what language is in it. It's inaudible in any language.
Yes, well, that's a good point, yeah. And anyway, in the international language of football, England lead Iran by 5-1. And here's Rashford with it near the centre circle, back to Rice, and then back to Stones in the centre circle. So the goal that Taremi scored is a little blot on the copybook. So after the 5 consecutive clean sheets to start the Euros last year, that won't be happening. But other than that,
no, it's been plain sailing. And looking at Iran and saying, right, okay, in terms of progressing in the group, we're saying it was the most even group. The 2 other teams, Wales, of course, and the USA, will look at this and think, well, we can get at them, because they've not. Yes, they put up a fight for a moment in the first half, but you forget in there that there was a 15-minute delay for the keeper's injury, and actually it was all plain sailing fairly early in the first half.
Yeah. They've had a terrible day, Iran.
I think it's been tough, and you just sense that it's been a step too far to go onto the pitch as well.
A little bit like yesterday, though, the discussion that followed that match, the Ecuador game, you know, how much was it a case of Qatar not performing, how much was it a case of Ecuador performing? Well, I think with England here, they really have performed. We've got a stoppage at the moment, incidentally. There's another one on the far side. It is Safi, the captain, who seems to have gone down with cramp when he was about to take a throw in. So I think this could set a World Cup record for the longest amount of minutes played in a match that was due to last 90 minutes. After 14 minutes were added on at the end of the first half.
We need Statman Dave.
Where is he?
It's not often I say that.
I think he might be on the World Cup daily every night.
Excellent. Well, there's a question for Dave. Get on it. Yeah. Let's find out.
Yeah, I don't know whether he does that one.
Stop criticising keepers.
Right, Safi has sat down now on the fast. I mean, he could have taken one step off the pitch on the far side and let play continue, but they weren't going to do that. So another lengthy stoppage. So what's in your mind, Matt Upson, down there in your jumper?
I'm thinking it's quite a wily piece of play from the Iran left back, because you're absolutely right, John. He just knew he was off the pitch. He almost kind of just stepped on, went down on one knee, looked like he was adjusting something, didn't know what was going on, but it looks like it's good old-fashioned cramp. But I just want to see England control and see this game out. Keep everyone healthy, keep everyone fit. Don't dwell on the ball too long. Allow a late, tired tackle come in and catch anyone. Do it properly, move the ball quickly, see it through, and then reflect on what's been a pretty good performance.
It has. Just a few months after the hostile crowd at Molineux were telling Gareth Southgate that he didn't know what he was doing. Here we are watching the first match of the World Cup, and Gareth Southgate's team are winning 5-1. And this will be a record win for England in their first match at a World Cup. Their biggest margins of victory in their opening matches at any World Cup. I'll run you through them in a moment. But England looking for another one, trying to match the record 6-1 against Panama in Russia. But Iran are able to win the ball back, but Eric Dyer is able to step across. Yeah, so England's biggest wins in their first match at a World Cup, you have to go back to 1982, when France were beaten 3-1 in Bilbao, in the match that Brian Robson scored after 27 seconds. Or all the way back to 1954, when England beat Belgium 4-2 after extra time in their first match at the World Cup. So 2-goal margin is the record, and currently it is 5-1. So this is some way to get out of that slump of form, in inverted commas, the 6-match run without a victory for England, which was the longest run that they'd gone on without a win since 1993. 5-1 the score. This is BBC Radio 5 live in Doha in the Khalifa Stadium. Foden, nice from him, sticks his chest out, gets the pass with his left foot to the right hand side, actually overhit to Rashford, but Rashford's onto it, into the penalty area, beats 2 men, shoots left footed, deflected across the penalty area. That would have been a corker if he'd scored that, Rashford.
Brilliant bit of skill, brilliant feint.
And here's Foden now. England are onto it again. Ball slipped through from him into the penalty area. Wilson was after it, but defender got there and helped it behind, and it's an England corner.
This England side is just so athletic. They've got so much pace and so much ability to cover ground. That's something that Iran haven't been able to live with. not only just going towards their end goal, but when they clear it, they can cover the ground. They just cannot live with them all over the pitch.
So it is a corner for England from the left, and they've caused problems with almost every set piece that they've had, so don't rule out another goal yet. Shaw, this one's a deep one towards the back post. No Maguire on the field anymore. Defender got a touch to that. Two men have gone down. There might have been another clash of heads in there. The referee's blown his whistle. I think it's the defender who has come off worst, and we're just hearing a reaction from the Iranian supporters to our right. And Carlos Queiroz, with his team 5-1 down, has walked right across the technical area and is blowing kisses to the Iranian crowd, and I guess is thanking them for their presence, probably in the circumstances with what's happening in Iran. You know, he's got a long association, even though he's just taken over again as the coach of Iran. You know, he was saying to them, I guess, you know, just thanks for being here despite what's happened on the field. As Grealish now scampers away from 2 or 3 challenges, then plays it through to Rashford. Now it's back to Bellingham. And these substitutions that Gareth Southgate has made have really revitalised England. And you've got hungry England players here against the tired and tiring Iranian side, and they are looking for more goals, no question.
Yeah, well, there's 4 attacking changes, wasn't it? And with people, they've got their own ideas of what they want to do. They want to hit the ground running themselves. They want to get a goal, and Russia's already done so. And just wondering, Carlos Queiroz went all that way over. He was still a good 20-30 yards away from the fans, so he was fairly safe.
Yeah, it was a long way to go at 69. Here's Grealish, back to Rashford. Rashford now out to the right-hand side, and Foden has continued his run down into the full-back position. And here is Grealish, again on the right-hand side. Jack Grealish is able to play it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Comes back to Rashford. Now Grealish again on the right. Little ball into the penalty area. Foden with a flick. Rashford had just ran away from him, but it runs to Shaw. And back to Rashford once more on the edge of the D. And they will play it back to Declan Rice, who actually is dispossessed. So Iran are going to break away downfield and play the ball out towards the left-hand side to Golizada. And now he finds his pass cut out by Trippier, and it's a throw into Iran down the left. 5-1 England lead.
Yeah, good from Trippier to get the block in. Momentary lapse from Declan Rice, but again, England, when they attack with the pace and the skill that they have, and Foden and Grealish get going.
As Iran play a shortish pass back to goalkeeper Hosseini, who was able to get out of his penalty area and clear it, and they couldn't keep it in on the far side, so throwing to England. We're in the 87th minute, and it is a free kick to England, a throw into England on the far side that they take. So the goal scorers tonight for England: Bellingham got the ball rolling with that excellent header. 2 goals for Saka, 1 in each half, 1 for Sterling, and then 1 for Marcus Rashford on his England return. And England with the ball inside their own half. The curving roof of the stadium above, floodlights brightly on. It's got a couple of arches, this stadium. Yellow lights are on that, and the ball is played forward by Shaw, but the goalkeeper is able to come out and claim that. And I think some people are now making their way home. I think it's not quite as full as it was, as the ball is played back to goalkeeper Hosseini, who clears. But I don't think any of the England fans who are here have left yet. They'll be waiting to give this England team an ovation after what is going to be a record win for their first match at a World Cup.
Absolutely, and it's as a spectacle. You can understand the people leaving now. It's been over for quite some time, but the way that England played and attacked at times has been why people came, why people have turned up, and why they've been a really, really confident win. There was that slip with the goal. Beyond that, just the momentary few moments where Iran have caused problems, mainly due to England, the product of their own downfall, but really, on the whole, a really confident and consummate performance.
Yeah, great start for England at this World Cup, and they'll feel a lot better about themselves. And actually, in some ways, it's been a step back into the qualifying campaign, and putting away a poor team, which Iran have been today. And remember, they racked up 39 goals in that qualifying campaign, which was a record for England in any World Cup or European Championship qualifying campaign. But many people would say, well, look at the standard of the opposition, and when it comes to England playing the better teams, they're not able to do that. But listen, as Jimmy Armfield always used to say to us, you can only beat the team that's in front of you, and England have beaten this Iranian team well.
I was trying to think of something really hard, different to say than that, but yeah, and it was, I think, you're looking at Gareth Southgate now, and you'd say, well, in the games in the future, making the subs and things like that, this second half has been a pretty slow pace. And
Bellingham playing the ball through for Wilson, and it's reached Wilson, and Wilson now into the area, plays it across, Grealish! It's 6-1! What a start for England in Doha! And Jack Grealish joins the party now to score only his second goal for England. That'll mean a great deal to him. His first at a World Cup on this stage, and his teammates are surrounding him. And England match what they did to Panama in Russia 4 years ago. They're winning 6-1 here against Iran.
At times his run to perfection, Callum Wilson, and for a man coming onto the scene in his first World Cup game, to have the opportunity to score, but to have the awareness to play the most unselfish of balls square to Jack Grealish. And it all stems from Jude Bellingham's through ball, and that man has been a revelation tonight. If you didn't already know about him, well, mark your card, he's on the scene.
Jack Grealish has absolutely loved that moment. You were right next to the celebration down there on the ball, or at least probably, 15 yards away, Matt, from the celebration.
Yeah, it was nice, good spirit amongst the group. Declan Rice coming over, having a little word with Jack Grealish. Loved every minute. His eyes lit up, John. I cannot tell you. I was kind of on the angle, and I was just fully expecting Callum Wilson to shoot, just because of the stage of the game you've come on, the score line. But fair play to him. That is what Gareth Southgate would be so happy with. That kind of collective play of being a team, identifying somebody else is in a better position to score, and being unselfish is a really good asset for a team to have, and for him to have that in that position, fair play to him. But Jack Grealish's eyes were just like lit up completely with the opportunity just to tap that in.
Yes. Thank you, Matt. Matt ups and down on the touchline. Rob Green with us here up in the commentary position. I can think of at least one Newcastle United number 9 that might not have done that. As the ball's played towards the edge of the penalty area, Shaw takes it down, and England have it comfortably on the edge of their own penalty area, just knocking it around. This is party stuff now, just triangles around the Iranian players. Jack Grealish, by the way, so second goal for him for England in his 25th appearance. That's a little bit of a milestone, isn't it? The quarter century. His only other goal was in Andorra when we were there in the October of last year in the qualifier. He scored in the 5-0 win. What a contrast that, scoring in Andorra to scoring here in the heat of the action at the World Cup.
Well, you talked about Jermaine Defoe scoring 20 goals earlier. He had one against Andorra, nicked away. I remember David Nugent running onto the line as the ball was going over, and he kicked it in. And Jermaine Defoe was fuming. That was the complete opposite. A real opportunity to score in a World Cup, and you turn around and you go, no, there you go, mate, you can have it.
Well, we've got only 10 minutes of added time at the end of the second half. So
Statman Dave's got his work cut out later.
I think that can we play you every week from the England supporters? That's a little unkind, isn't it, to Iran when you think of the backdrop to this game for them? But you can't question their enjoyment of this, the England fans. And what a start, really. 6-1 in your first match. Here is Foden, now Bellingham to Grealish on the left-hand side. Grealish with the headband on, hair swept back. Bellingham now, who I think is likely to get all of the praise and the awards for man of the match. Bellingham flicks a header on, down for Grealish, who's in the right-back position, just keeps it in play with the outside of his right heel, and then uses Bellingham, who's at close quarters, and then Bellingham curls it in, but it curls it over the top of Wilson and into the arms of goalkeeper Hosseini.
Yeah, slightly harder pass than the one that Callum Wilson set on a plate for Grealish moments ago, but it's just in this midfield with Rice and Bellingham where Iran have been pulled all over, and because the midfield has been so stretched and so overrun by those two in particular, they've become such a big gap between the midfield, the attack and the defence, that the runners of England have had had a real pleasure to play in that.
So 6-1, if you've just switched onto us on 5 Live. This is the last knockings of this opening match for England in this group, the opening match in Group B. This is the group, the only group in which all 4 teams were in the top 20 of the world rankings, as Grealish is bundled over right in front of Carlos Queiroz. But I think you have to qualify this because of what is happening with Iran in the build-up, what's happening at home, and also the fact that Carlos Queiroz coming in only 74 days before the World Cup began.
I think also for the sakes of, I know England have now won comfortably, but for the sakes of them and the group itself, that they put in more of a performance that we know that they're capable of.
It's the next match in Group A next, Senegal, Netherlands, and then that's 4 o'clock kickoff UK time, and USA, Wales at 7 o'clock UK time. How far away is 4 o'clock? What time is it? I've totally lost track of this. So it is now just after 6 here. Yeah, so we've got just under an hour, is that right? Before kickoff? Yes, just under an hour before that match kicks off. And in that time, we'll try and bring you interviews from down in the dressing room area. We've got our high-tech equipment set up down there that I hope is going to work, as Iran have the ball in the central third and then play it back into their own half, but understandably looking really a little bedraggled now, as you would coming to a World Cup with all of the hopes that any footballer would have to be 6-1 down in the first match. Ball in from the left-hand side, Taramia's after it, couldn't get his head to it, and it was nodded away. It comes out on the right-hand side, Moharimi, left-footed ball across the edge of the box. Azmoun was after it, but England are able to win back possession, and suddenly they're on the halfway line with Foden, but Foden overhits his pass by a distance through to goalkeeper Hosseini. So we've had 5.5 minutes of the 10 that have been added on. There will be discussions as well about that decision for goalkeeper Berenvand to play on in the first half. Harry Maguire's gone off with a concussion injury as well, it would seem, so we'll have to see how he is. But here is Iran coming forward, but Pickford gives a big shout there to Eric Dyer, who's able to head the ball down and away. Grealish, he's caught late there. He's caught late. That was a very late challenge. Played the ball away, but he knew it was coming, I think, so was off the ground by the time the impact was made on him.
Yep, could ride it. And the game's lost all shape now, lost all any sort of pattern. It's just, if you want to get it and you can run with it and you've got space, you can do, and that's what Jack Grealish loves.
That was poor Ali Ganji who fouled Grealish there, who was on a yellow card. That was a second yellow card.
Yep, it should have been a red.
The referee has been extremely lenient there on him, as Iran win a free kick inside their own penalty area.
I think it just sums up where they've been, a yard off the pace with the game, really, and it's been too much. Poor Ali Ganji. He's not for the first time, like you say. One was with Harry Kane trying to chase him. Now with Jack Grealish arriving late. He's not on his own. He's been a yard off it all.
Well, I know that wise football watchers will be thinking that the pre-tournament form means nothing. It's what you do when you get here, and as Gareth Southgate was saying in advance of this, and indeed every tournament that he's been at, that is how you will be remembered. That is your, as they like to call it these days, the legacy. The legacy of any manager, any international manager, is how your team performs at the tournament.
You can break all the records you want in qualifying, really. Iran.
As the ball's played through, and this could be a chance for a second Iranian goal, but the crossbar is struck, and what an opportunity that was. One-on-one with Pickford, and it was the Bayer Leverkusen man, Azmoun, with the chance, who was put through. That should have been a second Iranian goal, and I think Pickford might have got a touch to it onto the bar.
Yeah, it's a fantastic
save.
That's
a terrific save.
Yeah, just waited and waited and waited, and Azmoun had all the time he wanted to pick his spot, and as it goes down, just leave your trailing arm to stay high and you can react above you, and he did that. It's a wonderful touch from Jordan Pickford. He's had so little to do. You think he's been stood out there for nearly 2 hours now. It's been so long that to keep your concentration like that. It's just a little slip from England, John Stones this time, not tracking.
It's a good question. How long is this match now? If we had 90 minutes, then they added on 14 in the first half, and now we've had another 10. Well, it's a free kick though to Iran on the right-hand side. Just work that out, Rob, while I'm doing this. It's a free kick that is going to be taken in from the left-hand side by Haisafi, the captain. So Pickford, you know, he'll feel he's contributed now, having conceded the goal that Taremi scored. Very good save. Haisami plays this in. Pickford comes and gets a punch on that. And that was a good delivery, actually, by Haisafi into the edge of the 6-yard box. And Pickford came, players were arriving, there's a little bit of a dust-up. And the referee's blowing his whistle. And actually Jordan Pickford, of all people, the once excitable Jordan Pickford, actually stepped in there and gave it the calm down everybody. Who'd have thought?
Oh, Temple's afraid, and just the run into the box, they're just clashing the bodies, a push. Ref's now having a word. It's been in the rumbling on in the background all game, hasn't it? The arguing, the late tackles, the petulance has been there. It's just England have been so good in an attacking sense, have blown Iran away. This is what they would have wanted for 90 minutes or however long it's been.
Well, there's no need for this now. The referee has called over the players and they're having a look at VAR, actually. So there must be a chance that this is a penalty. That something happened in the midst of that when the free kick was played in by Haisafi, that maybe one of the England players has either committed a foul or perhaps the way that they reacted inside the penalty area. So the referee's coming across and we know what normally happens here. So there is a review for a possible penalty. We're seeing the replays now. These are the replays that the video assistant referee will be watching.
Well, there's a tug of the shirt from John Stones, which is the problem. It's whether
on Pour Ali Ganji. So he did, yeah. He's got a handful. He has a handful of Pour Ali Ganji's shirt, John Stones.
But it's whether the reaction of Pour Ali Ganji is warranted from the tug. And for me, there's not a big tug in there. I think he realises he's not going to win the ball.
Well, that could be given as a penalty because he's got the shirt. He's pulled the shirt. The referee's had a look at the screen down between the dugouts. Here he comes. I think we're going to see the rectangle any moment now. Yep, there it is. And the penalty is given. And after England were not given what looked to me a stonewall penalty for wrestling inside the penalty area. You know, there is gross inconsistency here in that Iran have been given a penalty, but this for a shirt pull.
Well, there is a pull. It's debatable as to whether it's enough to bring a player down. That's debatable, but the referee clearly didn't see it. What was checked and what was seen was the rugby tackle in the first half of the penalty.
So it is going to be Mehdi Taremi with his chance to score his second goal of the match. So the Porto striker standing on the edge of the box, Jordan Pickford with his excellent goal penalty saving record. And he's jumping up, star jumps on the line, Jordan Pickford. Remember those saves in the penalty shootout at the end of the Euro final? He's already made one brilliant save to keep out Azmoun in the last few moments. But now, deep in added time, a chance for Iran to score their second goal of the match. Won't affect the outcome, but Taremi waits. There's the whistle. Still he stands on the edge of the D. Still he stands on the edge of the penalty area in the D. Still he waits. And now final, little steps on the spot. And now he begins his run up, right-footed, and he sends Jordan Pickford the wrong way. Taremi has scored his second goal of the match. Iran have scored 2, but England lead 6-2. And there can only be seconds left of the match.
Well, it's been a bit of a strange ending to the game, and that adds to it, really. Disjointed. Teams being able to attack at will. And then from there, that goal from the free kick, a tug on the shirt, not seen by the referee, then given. We've seen worse in this game that weren't given, so all very odd.
So England 6, Iran 2 is the final score. There is only just time for England to kick off, and 6-2 is the final score. That's tennis, not football.
It's been a strange game and a bit overwrought. for Iran from the start, from the kickoff. England were too good. And then from there, in the second half, it lost all shape, it lost all semblance of a real competition. And realistically, it's been a strange scoreline, because actually, in total, 11 shots on target, 8 goals is kind of sums it up, really. So a great start for England, a great start in terms of performance in an attacking sense. That's where we looked bereft of ideas in the games, in the build-up games in the recent past, and all of a sudden 6 goals, plenty of attacking options, plenty of attacking choices, a lot of box tick to Gareth Southgate. Just one questionable one about the defence, about being a focus for the whole game, but it has been so hard to focus on because it has been such a strange game in that regard.
The list of goal scorers, the excellent Bellingham with the first, 2 goals from Saka. Sterling scored his 20th goal for England. Marcus Rashford scored on his England comeback. Jack Grealish scored his first goal at the World Cup. So we have a final score of England 6, Iran 2. A record score. England have never scored 6 in their first match at a World Cup before. It is their biggest win in their first match at a World Cup. 6-2 here in the Khalifa Stadium.